If you're looking to start a podcast and already have a podcast and you're looking for an affordable podcasting hosting site, Podbean's your number one choice. Podbean offers statistics with in-depth analytics to manage your podcast needs. Use the promo code podbeam.com/pbsignup and get a free month off. That's podbeam.com/pbsignup to get a free month off and see why 1,500 episodes have been shared all over the world in the past 11 years with over 3,000 subscribers that have chose Podbeam as their number one hosting site.
Podcast City Network.
Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
Damn. Blow my freaking eardrums out, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Everett Lee Show podcast. I am the Everett Lee. Shout out to everyone who follows me on social media and on Podcast City Network, your official host and official site of the Everett Lee Show podcast, LLC. Tonight on the program, I just want to mention that the state of Florida is at midnight. We on lockdown, man. We are on lockdown on the state of Florida tonight at midnight, man. It's nuts. It's nuts, but you know what? They're doing what everything else is doing here. Pretty much. And that didn't play. So let's ignore that right there. It didn't show up on my thing. But besides that, got a great show tonight. And also I want to mention that you can follow, like, share, and download the Everett Lee Show right there on the screen. Podbean, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. Tonight I have on the program, he's back. We just can't stay apart. Me and my guest tonight cannot stay apart. We like peanut butter and jelly. We like glue and wood and nails. Tonight, back on the program tonight is none other than host of the Chris Carnage Show and Final Score. Welcome back, Chris Carnage. What's up, Chris? Yeah. And you got no sound. How about now? Can everyone hear? Now? Yeah, let's hear Chris Carnage again. Can we hear him?
Round two, take two.
Take two. Yeah, that's right.
Take two. That's right. It's okay. Chris Carnage is good for this. Watch this.
Yeah.
Hey, fans. Back here for another exciting episode of the Everett Lee Show, episode 178, CarnageMania Top 5. And, you know, it's been exciting. We've been doing this more lately. You came on Chris Carnage Show. I'm here for the Everett Lee Show. It's always a good, exciting time. Hopefully everybody can actually hear me this time. But, you know, I'm here to shake things up, and I'm super excited because we have so many Manias. I even went and pulled out a bunch of my Mania DVDs in preparation for this.
Oh,
I'm so prepped. Yeah. Can't touch me, WWE Network. I already have it all. So, just saying. But at the end of the day, I'm really excited. It's going to be good stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be good because what we'll be discussing and talking about tonight is top 5 WrestleMania pay-per-views. Pay-per-views. Not main events, pay-per-views. And the way we did this is just... It was tough, man. This was freaking tough, was it not?
Ridiculously tough. Ridiculously tough. Like, to honestly try and parry down 35 WrestleManias down to a top 5 is already hard. And to try and go down even further and classify those into a top 5, this was crazy because, you know, you're a huge wrestling fan. I'm a huge wrestling fan. Excuse me. And I've been involved in the industry. You've been involved in the industry. Mm-hmm. It's really hard, especially given how much these athletes pour themselves into their body of work. I know I did. I did to the point where I broke my back. So it was really hard to do this, man, but we did it nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did it. I mean,
That's what she said.
we did
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
That's okay.
You open the door, Chris Carnage walks through. It's just how it works.
Of course it is, man. I open that door up and we just walk right through. But pretty much, we have a lot of time on our hands. Like I mentioned, tonight midnight, Florida's going on lockdown, man. We going on lockdown.
That's right.
We're gonna be like Snake from Escape from New York here pretty soon. Actually, I think everyone from New York was like him here recently, getting the hell out of there, man. No one wanted to stay around there. And they're coming down this way. So our governor like blocked everything off. And pretty much Florida's going to like break off and float out in the ocean. It's going to be like Escape from LA.
We might be safer that way, but I don't know with how quickly coronavirus COVID-19 spreading in South Florida. I don't know. But I don't know. All this stuff has been pretty crazy. But you know, one beautiful thing of it is I've had a lot more time to do some podcasting. So a lot of fun stuff, including some things going on here soon. I guess I'll go ahead and say it now. Excuse me. So Chris Carnage has a few exciting things coming up, some interviews coming up with some local indie talent.
Ooh.
Excuse me, as well as interviews with some other podcast hosts that everybody knows near and dear to the Podcast City Network family. So it's going to be interesting for Chris Carnage upcoming here soon. So definitely make sure that you keep your eyes out on all things Chris Carnage on Facebook at facebook.com/Chris Carnage Official, on Twitter at Planet Carnage, and of course on Instagram at The Chris Carnage. So definitely go check me out, give me a like, give me a follow, and check out all the craziness that I get into, and look forward for those future episodes as well, because Chris Carnage is like Santa Claus. I come bearing gifts all the time. Final Score has some exciting things going on. I can't get into too much detail, but let's just say that me and Craig had a very nice video conference earlier today about our upcoming episode with someone else that we're bringing on. So it's going to be very interesting. Definitely make sure you keep your eyes out. There will be an announcement as soon as tomorrow. All you have to do to see that announcement is go on to any of our social media outlets on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at PCN Final Score, and just wait for that announcement. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what you guys have in store. I'm trying to get my graphics up because
I thought you were trying to say you're going to get your groove on. I was like, hey, calm down. I know we're in lockdown, but please, sir, calm down. This is how children are made.
I know how children are made. I mean, yeah.
I was about to say you're versed in that. You know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, but not as you. You're more balls into it than I am.
Well, balls deep maybe, but I tell you what, 4 kids deep, and here I am. So, yeah, no. The Chris Carnage Baby Making Factory is shut down for business.
Shut down, man. It is shut down.
It has to be, or I'm going to start losing appendages soon.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in the chat right here. David C. Russell from Deathmatch Russell Podcast.
Yeah.
Hello,
David C. Russell.
And hello, Chris Carnage. Boo. Ah, yes. Oh, what are you like having a spasm for being in?
What's that? You okay over there?
Yeah. Boo. Ah, yeah. Awesome. This is like ooh, ah.
I'm about to say we're reverting to caveman days now.
That's how they're dumbing us down with everything going on.
And now they're getting us to stay at home in our caves.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
I'm gonna be running out of my house like Captain Caveman. I'm gonna have that.
Oh my God,
Captain Caveman.
Or you can end up like that one movie. What was it? With Brendan Fraser when he was the caveman and thawed out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Encino Man. I love.
Yeah.
Encino Man. Yeah. If anyone drives by my house during this lockdown, and then you see Everett Lee out in the front yard wearing a loincloth, paint all over me, and I'm frying a frog on my front porch, please approach with caution.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was oddly specific. So what if I see you frying something else up? Is it okay at that point?
Yeah, that
As long as I keep my 6 feet social distancing.
Yeah, long as I gotta have something for my cataracts. So
Gotta have it for my cataracts, baby.
yeah, I gotta have something for my cataracts. But let's talk about this top 5 WrestleMania, man.
Oh man, I pulled out my physical copies just to prepare for this.
No, right. I mean, you got a hell of a collection. I've seen your DVD collection of WrestleManias, which is fantastic, and I love it. I love the collection of everything that you have.
Thank you, sir.
We're with WrestleMania this weekend, I believe it is. It's this weekend. They're doing 2 days.
This Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a 2-part event now. Moved to the Performance Center and other unknown locations because WWE did not think it was a good idea to postpone WrestleMania. So here we are. Thanks, Vince.
Yep. But you know what? We can reminisce on the classics. The classics to us.
Yeah, buddy.
Like I mentioned, this list right here, this top 5 was not easy.
No.
Me and Chris went back and forth with this, trying to figure out. We threw so many numbers at each other of WrestleManias. At one point, we thought we were accountants. I thought I was an accountant. I thought I was counting. I almost had about a 33 1/3 chance of actually getting a sum that narrowed down to 5. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, but we somehow hit that 33 1/3 chance, and because we were so awesome that we had 66 2/3 chance, so we made it happen. But at the end of the day, this was a difficult list, and we agreed on the top 5 WrestleManias. We didn't necessarily agree on the final order. So what we're going to do is we're going to present these in chronological order, and then give our top 5s at the end. So you want to go ahead and kick it off from the top?
Yes, I'll kick it off from the top there, brother. Ooh,
Brother.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk WrestleMania 3. Let's talk WrestleMania 3 there. That's it right there. Let's get your cam right there. WrestleMania 3. Let's start off with that one.
That's right. Great show.
Great show. Now, with WrestleMania 3, this right here, what drove this WrestleMania being one of the most talked about WrestleManias was the main event. You had a Hulk Hogan defending the WWE Championship against Andre the Giant. That was the main match. But you also have a hellacious matches that goes along with it. 12 matches here. 12 matches here. The first match was the Can-Am Connection. Ricky Martel and Tom Zink going up against Bob Orton and the Magnificent Morocco with Mr. Fuji right there. That right there was your opening match, tag team match there. And it ran for.
It was a decent match.
Yeah, it was. Ricky Martel, man. God, man. He was on fire. That guy was on fire back in the day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. There was so much great stuff with this match, dude. Just 'cause especially at that time, he had he was getting a decent little push. Ended up being the opener for WrestleMania 3, which was historic. And depending upon what year you talk to Hulk Hogan, it was anywhere from 90,000 to 385,000, brother. So you can't know how many people were there because the number always increases. But either way. The match though itself that I from what I remember watching of it, I was really good. Ended with the Can-Am Connection going over Bob Orton and the Magnificent Morocco. So it was great. Only a 5 and a half minute match, but honestly, it was a real quick pace, real nice match, real enjoyable opener.
Yeah, they didn't put too much in and put too little. They did it just right. They did it just right there for that match. A great opening match there to get the crowd ready and going for the next 10 matches, 11 matches that were to come. Billy Jack Hayes versus Hercules with Bobby Heenan. And that match right there was a singles match that ran about 7 minutes and 44 seconds. But Hercules, man, remember the Heenan family? The Heenan, he had his people out there. Mr. Bobby the Brain Heenan right there.
Oh yeah, and this ended up ending in a double count out. This match went almost 8 minutes. Was definitely a one that was more to steer storyline than anything, but still was an entertaining little match given the time.
Yeah, it was just a little entertaining match. I mean, nothing, but
Nothing too extra.
No, nothing too extra. Nothing too extra. I liked Hercules. Hercules was freaking like big, man. That guy was,
Dude, he was massive.
Yeah, he was, man. This guy was huge. With the double count out, how this ended with a double count out, you're like, what?
And you know what's funny? And a lot of people look at Hercules and are like, "Oh, but he was only like 6'1". And it's like, yeah, he was 6'1", but he weighed 270 pounds, and he was like a straight bodybuilder. The dude was just huge. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. Hercules was featured in a lot of different muscle magazines just because of how cut his physique was. The dude was just like a brick shithouse.
Mm-hmm. He was, and he was the perfect guy that Heenan wanted, and Heenan used for his the Heenan family there. And it just I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say about Hercules though, but this guy was jacked, man. This guy was
yeah, he really was. It was crazy to see how that went. But our next match though was an interesting one. We had a 6-man tag match, lasted only about 3.5 minutes. This was probably one of the low points of the card, honestly. But this was Haiti Kid, Hillbilly Jim, and Little Beaver against King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook. Haiti Kid, Hillbilly Jim, and Little Beaver ended up going over by disqualification, but this was more of just a filler match. Yeah, it was more just to kind of put King Kong Bundy out there on the stage, and Hillbilly Jim as well, more so than anything. But this wasn't really much of anything.
No, it wasn't. And what a difference from King Kong Bundy being on the third match on the card for this WrestleMania compared to the previous year when he was in the main event with Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've seen that happen before.
Yeah. So much can change within a year, man. So much can change within a year.
Absolutely.
So much. Our next one was Harley Race with Bobby Heenan and the Fabulous Moolah going up against the Junkyard Dog.
Oh, this match. This was a classic. And it wasn't a long match. No. But this match, honestly, had like, I guess for what WWE would term, some nice WrestleMania moments.
Yeah. They had some nice Mania moments though. But I'll tell you, I was hoping the Junkyard Dog man would get in there and he'd win it. I was upset. I was upset that he wasn't able to get this one. And but Bobby Heenan, man, this is make his second time he's come out already at WrestleMania 3. He was out earlier, and he's back out again. But
it wasn't the last time.
Nope, was not the last time because.
But more on that later.
Yes, the Dream Team: Brutus Barber Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine with Dino Bravo and Johnny Valent go up against the I don't even know how to say that name. The Roju brothers.
The Roju brothers.
Yes, the Roju brothers. And I don't remember too much about this though, but Brutus and Greg, they were pretty much well known. I mean, this right here made them more well known. Than what before,
Yeah, when they were tagging together as the Dream Team, it was honestly what helped elevate both of them because they were both singles competitors that had a little bit of success, but weren't able really to break up high into the main event scene. So they ended up tagging together and found a lot more success, including here, where this match was more lined up as a kind of like just a back and forth. It was more supposed to be as a way to build up the Dream Team going out of WrestleMania 3. So seeing them here against the Rougeau brothers, between Jacques and Raymond, not too surprised, with how this one turned out. It was only a 4-minute match, but still was a solid match.
Yeah, it was still good. It definitely was still good there. You standing up there?
had to grab something.
You had to grab something. I was like, "What you doing there, man?"
you never know what's gonna happen with Chris Carnage. Come on now.
Yeah, but yeah, Brutus Beefcake, great. Greg the Hammer Valentine, great. Now, this next match here, people still talked about this one, how on this card here, you had Rowdy Roddy Piper going up against Adrian Adonis with Jimmy Ha, the mouth of the South, baby. And this is a hair versus hair match, which went on about 6 minutes and 33 seconds there. And Adrian Adonis, man, he was pretty hot too right now. I mean, like for mid-card status there. But he was so controversial too. I think that's what's made him well known too, how he carried himself.
Well, that was the big thing, is that with his character, it was a very controversial character, which we've seen this type of character show itself up multiple times throughout history, whether it be even people kind of like Goldust or even like Billy and Chuck or, things of that nature. And you get this very over-the-top, very flamboyant character who's able to carry himself very well. This was someone that Rowdy Roddy Piper wanted to work with. He just loved the way he moved. And, of course, with Jimmy Hart being in his corner, it was an easy sell with Jimmy. And me and you know Jimmy personally. We know how he is and how kind he can be and how easy it is for him to talk people up. And I bet you Jimmy Hart went right into Rowdy's ear and was like, let me tell you something, baby. This guy's up and coming, and I tell you what, he's a good straight shooter, and he's going to be able to work the map greater than anybody else you've been against. And I bet you Jimmy will talk him up good. And I think this is how this match happened, because Roddy ended up being very interested in working with him, which led into this hair versus hair match, which we've seen that done a bunch of times, but we knew Roddy wasn't going to lose. But still, it made for a really entertaining match.
Yeah, it did. It made for a really good, entertaining match. And Adrian Adonis, man, I cannot believe, he lost his hair. He went ahead and he lost his hair, and god dang, man, I didn't expect that. I didn't know actually to expect what this, but Rowdy, I was like, there's no way he's going to get his head shaved. And when Adrian lost and got his hair, it was like, it's just nuts. But
yeah, that's surprising.
Good entertainment there. Now, the next match we had on this card, we had Dangerous Danny Davis and the Hart Foundation with Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim Neidhart with Jimmy Hart going up against the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid and Tito Santana. This was a 6-man tag, which lasted about 8 minutes and 52 seconds here. Now, the thing about this tag match here was how Matilda did not like Jimmy. Matilda went after Jimmy, and I asked Jimmy Hart. I asked him. I said, why did Matilda not like you? And he told me, and I said, oh, and I'm just going to keep it as that. The dog actually liked Jimmy, but Jimmy had a gimmick up his sleeve there, and he accidentally found out about, and the dog went crazy after him. So we're gonna keep it as that. I'm not giving too much else away.
No. And I respect Jimmy a lot. Yeah. I love Jimmy Hart. The time we've been able to spend with him, amazing human being. So because it's Jimmy, I'm not gonna press.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention. I am definitely not gonna mention what he mentioned to me. But I will.
Maybe you can tell me after the show.
I'll tell you. You'll be shocked to be like, really? But if you want to find out next time you run into the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, once we get quarantine out of here and we're able to go to appearances and meet and greets, ask him, and he'll tell you. But I'm not going to tell you.
It's not for us to say.
Nope, it's not. But with this match here, the Hart Foundation defeated the British Bulldogs and Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid and Tino Santana. Santana, man, he was hot too.
Tito Santana's pretty good, and honestly, this is a pretty underrated tag match. This a lot of guys were either just starting out or just getting going, especially like with the Hart Foundation. They were pretty young at this point, but they were still like in that nice, youthful, inventive stage. Especially working with Dangerous Danny Davis, who honestly wasn't too bad of a worker himself, but was more featured for the Hart Foundation. But on the other side, the British Bulldogs with Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid, huge pairing, and then you mix in Tito Santana. Huge matchup. Ended up being a really exciting match, and was an almost 9-minute match. So, hats off to these guys for having a good one.
Yeah, it was great. It was definitely a great match there. I love it. One of my favorite tag match on this card here. Then we had Butch Reed with Slick going up against Coco Beware in a singles match. Which didn't last too long. This match lasted about 3 minutes and 39 seconds. And Butch Reed, man, damn, this guy went on actually after WWE and went on to WCW, and he got with Ron Simmons and ended up forming the tag team Doom with Theodore Long, Teddy Long, holla holla player, as his manager. So, yeah, that's my Teddy Long impersonation. Sounded pretty good, huh?
Yeah, not too bad. But the thing is, too, is that when he had worked a bunch of different promotions, because let's not forget, when it comes to Butch Reed used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. So he came from a football background and was honestly extremely dominant as a player, and then ended up entering into the NWA territories, worked FCW, worked Georgia Championship Wrestling, worked Mid-South Wrestling, did all the big NWA territories, and then made it to the WWF around the mid-'80s, and then made the jump near the end of the '80s to Jim Crockett Promotions, and was able to eventually, like you said earlier, make that move to WCW. So it's really crazy to see the twists and turns he made. And a lot of people don't talk about this guy. Like, he honestly was not a bad wrestler. And at that time, he was really well respected and being pushed by the company, which is why he had a 3.5-minute squash match over Coco Beware, which Coco Beware is one of those synonymous names that you know of, and not necessarily for having crazy matches, but just his persona, his character, everything he did. And we even had him on, was it Robin Nelson's Wrestle Podcast before, and a great person.
Yeah.
But still, this match was meant to be a squash match, which is why Butch Reed went over.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what happened there, and it was trying to put him over, and that's what eventually ended up happening there. He squashed Coco, and then went on.
Squished him.
Yeah, he squished him. He squished him. Now, this match right here is the most one of the most talked about matches on this card, next to the main event right here. I'm talking about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat going up against oh yeah, brother, Macho Madness, Macho Man Randy Savage for the Intercontinental Championship.
You sound like you're so constipated doing that.
Oh, I know. I need another drink. Oh, it's Corona.
What are we gonna do with you? But either way, so, this match is probably the best match on the entire card, wrestling-wise. Had a lot of build-up. Was for the Intercontinental Championship, with Randy Savage coming in as champion. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, amazing wrestler. Had already at this point had great matches all over the place, really, especially in the NWA days. So this pairing ended up being probably one of the most iconic matches in WrestleMania history and WWE history, and was the longest match on this card at 14.5 minutes. Beat the main event by 2.5 minutes, but this match told a wonderful story. Was very well worked, and we saw athleticism and moves that were far ahead of its time, spots that were far ahead of its time, and saw just the amazingness, the poetic just symphony that we saw physically between Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Randy Savage. It was just such a great match. Honestly, one of my all-time favorite matches.
Yeah, this match right here is what Bret the Hitman Hart said was the match he always wanted to have and get up to that level. Because the story behind this match here with Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much what happened was, for the fact that Savage did the whole match, and when he wrote down the whole match, how it was going to go, he gave it to Steamboat. Steamboat said, "What?" He's like, one, headlock or lockup. And he's like, "Where do you do lockup?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, Savage was like, "This is how we do it." And he was going through reading it. And he was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "This is great." He's like, "Okay." So what he wrote down is what you saw. And Ricky Steamboat ends up, damn, what the hell's going on over there? Your mic or something, man. There you go.
Sorry, test.
Yeah, it's that mic. You gotta get it fixed or something.
Yeah,
but
damn mic.
But the thing is with this match here is it put Ricky over and him capturing the Intercontinental Championship. Great story, great build up and everything, because the story behind this was Savage put Steamboat out, and for about 2 months Steamboat was gone because he injured his neck with the ring bell. 2 months later, Steamboat comes back and attacks Savage on a run-in, and he challenged him at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship, and the rest is history.
Classic too. So well worked, and honestly, it's probably what I would say would be definitely Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's best match, even including the Ric Flair work. I think this is the best match he's ever wrestled.
Yeah, I would have to definitely say that. I definitely would have to agree with you right there on that. Now, after that match here, we had Honky Tonk Man with Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart going up against Jake the Snake Roberts with Alice Cooper.
And if you're keeping count, this is Jimmy Hart's fourth appearance. Wait, third appearance. Sorry, third appearance.
Yeah.
See, we're already losing count. That's how many times he showed up that night.
Yeah, that's crazy. Honky Tonk Man going up against Jake Roberts here, and you had Alice Cooper. And one thing about WrestleMania, that during those times, it attracted a lot of celebrities.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right? A lot of celebrities.
Yeah, Cyndi Lauper, like we said, Alice Cooper, Muhammad Ali, all the big names that across sports and entertainment were coming out to these, even as soon as WrestleMania 1, where you had all kinds of people coming out. So it's crazy to see. And yet Mr. T on WrestleMania 1. So this has always been a huge, huge fanfare, not only for fans, but for celebrities as well, and other athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was there. Now, Honky Tonk Man, he was pretty much, at this time, Honky Tonk Man was pretty much well known. And yeah, Jimmy Hart's third appearance right here. This is his third appearance coming out here already on this pay-per-view here. And Jake Roberts.
That it was.
Jake Roberts. One thing that I love about Jake Roberts is the psychology and everything he uses with wrestling. How when he cuts that promo, it's really soft and everything, and he looks at the camera, and there's only one move that I need, and that's the DDT to take you out, and then after that, I'll feed you to my pet Damien, and the rest is history.
That's what's so great about him, because it's like that gravel, that gravity you would feel, that grit, the seriousness in his voice, because he's Jake the Snake Roberts. Dude, I loved it, and you don't see a lot of guys like that anymore either. So it was very well worked. It was a great pairing for WrestleMania. Obviously, Honky Tonk ended up going over though in a 7-minute match, but it still was a very well worked match. Let me English today, and was honestly a very good little classic unto itself, but was just so overshadowed because of the main event and because of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Randy Savage. So it ended up kind of being overshadowed, but still was a good match.
Yeah. I wonder, Chris, like after the Ricky Steamboat thing, I bet the other matches besides Hogan and Andre didn't have to worry about that because the hype and everything behind that was carrying this.
Oh, the hype and with how they ended up carrying out that match, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, but anything after that, I bet they're like, damn, we got to follow that up now.
Yeah, right.
We got to follow that up. Come on.
I mean, it's WrestleMania. You should expect it, right?
Yeah. I bet the boys in the back are like, God dang, got to follow that up. Okay, let's go out there and do it.
At this point, we still had 2 matches to go. So it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. The next match here, you had the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with Slick. Slick's second appearance. Going up against the Killer Bees, Brian B. Blair and Jim Bunzel. And that was a tag match that lasted 5 minutes and 44 seconds. And it ended by disqualification. Because Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov won that one there.
Yeah, this was more of at this point, kind of like it was like a little rivalry match that they had, then it being kind of pushed back. And the name for the Killer Bees was kind of stolen from the Miami Dolphins anyways, but it still made for good entertainment. And you had the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov who were tagging at this point. So it made sense. And it was, a kind of whatever match. Wasn't the cleanest match, had a few botches in it, but it still wasn't too horribly bad, but it ended up being a disqualification for the finish anyway. So it was kind of lackluster and was only kind of there to kind of help, cool off the crowd after, going through the Intercontinental title match and of course Honky Tonk Man and Jake Roberts. So, this was kind of a cool down match right before the main event.
Yeah. This one right here kind of cooled it off there. And I definitely agree with you with this one here, but time for the main event. Hulk Hogan defending the WWE Championship against Andre the Giant with Bobby Heenan ringside. How many appearances now is this Bobby Heenan's already?
Oh my gosh. Let me go through and recount. We had 1. There's 2. And at this point, there's 3. So 4? We're at 4 now, I think.
Jeez, that's crazy. That's nuts, man. That is nuts.
But you know what? Bobby Heenan was that kind of manager. Like he was like the Paul Heyman of his day, so to speak. Because remember all the people that Paul Heyman's been able to manage. So now they just try to take that more straightforward approach of trying to keep one wrestler or one tag team or one stable with one manager, so they don't have all the jumping around. But imagine if they went back to that.
I know that would be crazy. I'd like to see more managers. I definitely would.
Yeah, especially given how large the roster is at this point. Like, why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not go back to valets? Why don't you come up with a manager that comes up in like another Heenan family? Why don't you come up with something like that? Another Dangerous Alliance. But they won't do it. They won't do it.
Or maybe, let Chris Carnage come up there, refound Total Destruction, which not a lot of people know about, and, see what happens. Just saying, spitballing.
Yeah.
I know how to work a mic pretty good.
Yes, you do. You know how to work that mic there, brother. You know how to work it. But this match right here went on for 12 minutes and 1 second here. Then pretty much the story behind this was Andre was undefeated. Andre the Giant was pretty much undefeated. And no one could defeat him. And then he was friends. Him and Hogan were friends, brother. And then he aligned himself with Bobby Heenan. And then he flipped out. Hogan flipped out on Piper's Pit. Why you take me with him, brother? Yeah. And flipping out. And then Andre was like, and then just ripped the necklace off of freaking, of Hogan there. And he was going to defeat him. He was going to take his WWE Championship. And a lot of people were shocked to see the Hulkster bleed when his necklace ripped his skin when he grabbed a hold of his shirt there.
Mm-hmm.
That was something right there. So people got behind it. They wanted to see Hulk Hogan go up against Andre the Giant there, and the body slam heard around the world. I think that's what you said the other night.
Yeah, the body slam heard around the world because this was the first time Andre the Giant had ever been body slammed by any wrestler ever. And this match, along with this pay-per-view, was so historic because this was the passing of the torch of the top talent in the industry. And at this point, Andre the Giant had been running it for decades, and had already been champion, had already traveled the world, wrestled everybody. And this was the match to pass the torch officially to Hulk Hogan and make him the guy. And Hogan, even though he was, going in as champion, even though he had accomplished all his own things, being a part of the main event of WrestleMania 1, all that kind of stuff, Andre the Giant was still that guy. He was the staple. He was the name everybody knew. He was the guy that you could not miss no matter where you went. Look was synonymous. Name was synonymous. And Hogan was able to body slam him and take that torch and be able to carry it until he was able to pass it on himself. So it was so historic on so many levels, and was not only the true birth of Hulkamania, but really was the end of a chapter for Andre the Giant.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was. It was the end of an era, and the passing of the torch there. And all in all, this WrestleMania is one of the most talked about. Let me get you right there. The most talked about WrestleManias and most popular one WrestleMania in history. And at that time it had the largest attendance record for a WrestleMania, did it not?
There was a lot of claims that were made. Dave Meltzer tried to refute a few of them, but what WWE claims was like 93,000 or so, which has since been broken again, presumably at WrestleMania 32. So it stood the test of time. But there was a lot of stuff that happened in WrestleMania 3, and like we said earlier, Hulk Hogan blows the number up every single time, but it's because he doesn't even truly know what the number was. So at that point, it was big, but we'll never really know.
Yeah, definitely. We pretty much we'll never know, and we just got to take it with a grain of salt and go by what they tell us. Pretty much what they tell us there with the numbers there. Now, our next WrestleMania we have to talk about is WrestleMania 17. 17 there. That's it. Let me get a screenshot of that. There you go. WrestleMania 17. And those familiar with that, you know why. One of the reasons why right there we picked WrestleMania 17. And the match card for this one, man. This match card, the thing about this one right here, this WrestleMania 17, one of the reasons why I threw this on the list here is for the fact that, let me take these sunglasses off, man, because I can't see shit. I'm sorry. I can't.
Breaking kayfabe.
Yeah, I'm breaking kayfabe. Well, my eyesight's starting to go bad. Honestly, I hate to say that. And, yeah, it sucks.
It's okay. Right. Chris Carnage will hold character for you.
Yeah, hold character. What you see is what you get. We'll just say that. Pretty much, Chris. Damn. It's bright now.
Here, you're distracted. I got you. This whole show, though, was so huge, especially because, and why it's so special to me, this is by far one of the most amazing WrestleManias because it was an important time in history in the entire industry. It was an important time for WrestleMania because it was the first time in an extremely long time that they were holding it at a big stadium. They weren't just holding it at, an arena. Because the year before, if you remember, WrestleMania 16, if I'm not mistaken, was held in Anaheim, in their little, I can't remember the name of the arena at this point, where the Mighty Ducks played. And this was the first time where they went big again. This was at the home of the Houston Astros in Houston, Texas in 2001, and featured an amazing card, had so much great talent. And like we said, at that time, this was literally on the heels of WCW being sold to WWE.
Yeah.
And WWE basically buying their competition. So this was the last Mania that saw the end of that era. And the very next night on Raw, we saw a huge launch into the future of what WWE would become. And in even inevitably into the Ruthless Aggression era. So huge. The importance of this match or this show and everything it brought to the table. So many good matches, and it's one of the most surprising endings to a WrestleMania or probably almost any pay-per-view, I would say, ever.
Yeah.
Given the gravity of what happened. But before we even talk about that, we're going to start at the top of the card and run our way through real quick with the first match, which was X Factor, which was just incredible, and X-Pac with Albert taking on Grandmaster Sexay and Steve Blackman in a tag match.
Really, I like this match. I like this opening match right here. Just Incredible and X-Pac. You wouldn't think you would not think these guys would work really well as a tag team, and they did.
No, you wouldn't.
They did, and I'm surprised it didn't last longer than what it did. That's the one thing about this. I'm surprised it didn't last longer than what it did.
Well, there was things that tied into that, mainly on X-Pac's side. Albert was also with him, but Albert ended up being pulled into TNA with Test. But Just Incredible and X-Pac had actually worked together in WCW. So they actually had a rapport together. Excuse me. So I wasn't too surprised at how good that their chemistry was. The thing was, Just Incredible ended up going more down the road of the light heavyweight title scene. X-Pac had just come out of that scene. And from here, I think, if I'm not mistaken, ended up starting a feud. Gosh, who did he start with feud with? I want to say it was Kane for a little bit, and then ended up moving on, and then ended up in the NWO kind of scene when all that started breaking apart and coming out a couple years later. So X-Pac also took a break at this time, so another thing to keep in mind. But this match wasn't bad. It was only about a little over 2.5 minutes long, and some decent talent. Just Incredible, very, very underrated. Steve Blackman was very underrated, but still not a bad little match. And you end up with X Factor going over.
Yeah, pretty much the what everything you just said right there, with how, yeah.
I'm good at the words. What can I say?
Yes, you are. And the tag match ran for about 2 minutes and 46 seconds. It was like in there, boom, boom, done. That was it. And then that was pretty much it. They started off with a squash match, and you're like, what the hell happened? But I like this match here. The next match, Chris Jericho going up against William Regal. And he was defending the Intercontinental Championship in a 7-minute and 8-second match right here. Damn. Yep. All I got to say, Chris, William
Have you
Regal,
seen this match?
Yes. I watched it last night. Remember when I got off?
Oh, yeah.
When I got off with you, and I said, I'm leaving. I'm going to bed. I laid in bed and I watched WrestleMania 17 last night.
You picked a good one.
Yes, I did. That was the best one right there. That opening match with Jericho and William Regal, damn, it showcased how William Regal. Well, I was surprised. William Regal's a great in the ring, what he can do. But this right here, Jericho let him show what he can do. What he can do in the ring. And I love the story, the build-up for it, too, was just great. With Jericho peeing in his coffee.
Oh, there was amazing build-up. Oh, yeah. Because don't forget, all the different roles William Regal was taking on at that time, with helping with Raw and being the general manager, all that kind of stuff. But I remember specifically this match, just because the thing I have about William Regal, I always loved William Regal, but I thought he could be unsafe at times.
Yeah.
But I eventually realized it's not that William Regal was unsafe. William Regal was willing to do some dirty looking shit to try and make a match look good, and he would only do it with certain people. Chris Jericho being one of them, because they had worked together in WCW and in WWE extensively. But William Regal, very underrated, and this match was truly amazing with Jericho. At this point, Jericho was starting to get into his prime. He was less than a year away from winning both the World Heavyweight titles and the WWE title, and becoming the first ever undisputed champion and all that. But I'm not surprised Jericho went over, but it was still a really amazing match.
It was. Yeah, he was on his way leaving mid-card to hit the main event, and he proved it the following year. But this right here, it showed why he was a great Intercontinental Champion, and being in the ring with someone as a familiar in-ring technician as William Regal. Because William Regal, he can wrestle dirty. He can wrestle clean, and he definitely showed it. And I loved this, man, because the crowd got into this one, man. They got behind Jericho on this. They definitely did.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The next match, you had Taz and the APA with Jacqueline going up against Right the Censor with Bull Buchanan, the Godfather, and Val Venus with Steven Richards.
Hey. It's not the Godfather. It was the Good Father.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Remember.
The Good Father. Yes, the Good Father. Okay, have Taz, who basically the Taz mission, he could choke your ass out. Okay? Choke your ass out. And you have him with the APA. You had Bradshaw, JBL, before JBL, Bradshaw, and Ron Simmons. Damn.
Yeah, that was quite the match, and it was very impactful. It wasn't a very long match. It only went just short of 4 minutes, but this match was very impactful. Had a lot of great little spots in it, but obviously the APA and Taz as the faces in this match ended up going over. Right to Censor was so hated. The boos when they came out were just deafening, and it was just so great to see. But not surprised Taz and APA went over.
Yeah, why not? Why not have those three guys go after Right to Censor and just squash them there? Because that match ended up going about 3 minutes and 52 seconds in this 6-man tag right here. And that pretty much was it right there. It was like this was just a minute over than the first match here.
But the next match is what really was amazing, because they ended up following up that match with a match that just went a shade over 9 minutes, for a triple threat hardcore match for the WWE Hardcore Championship between Kane, Big Show, and the champion Raven. And this match I remember clear as day in every single way, beginning to end. And it's what really made me not only love Kane, it not only made me love Raven, but it also made me love Big Show. And this match was just so great in so many ways, between throwing each other through glass windows, hitting each other with golf carts, ended up destroying part of the stage. It was amazing in every way. And you ended up seeing Kane go over and win the Hardcore Championship, which I thought was always great. I always loved Kane. So definitely a really, really good match.
Yeah, this was crazy, man. I laugh because of all the stuff they did in this. It basically said, here you go have fun. And that's what they did. Was it not? It
absolutely was.
They definitely had fun. And yeah, it made me like Kane even more after this right here. It definitely did. And that match right there, it was a triple threat hardcore match for the WWE Hardcore Championship. And that ran about 9 minutes and 17 seconds there. But the next match, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Eddie Guerrero with Perry Saturn going up against Test for the European Championship, and the match ran about 8 minutes and 30 seconds there. What are your take on that?
Underrated match, and this is also what ended up setting Eddie Guerrero off onto the tangent that he was from here on. This is really what I think broke Eddie Guerrero into the scene when he ended up picking up his first individual title. So remember that he came in as part of the Radicals with Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko, and of course Chris Benoit. So it was amazing to see what all of them were able to accomplish. But this is really, I think, what set Eddie Guerrero off. And Test wasn't a bad talent himself. Test was just getting ready to transition from being a singles wrestler to being in a tag team with Albert and starting TNA with Trish Stratus as their manager. So it was, he was getting ready to take a little bit of a step back. So it was time to pass that torch, and Eddie Guerrero was there right for the taking. And this match, honestly, was a pretty good match, a really good matchup.
It was a really good match. I loved Eddie's style in the ring. I kid you not. I love Eddie's style. I loved everything that he did, and everything that he did, Chris, he had a purpose for. Does that make sense where I'm coming at right there?
Oh yeah.
Everything that Eddie did, he had a purpose for. He had a purpose for putting in this move. He had a purpose for putting in that move. And he was one of those this move has a reason why. You don't need to put this in. There's no reason for it. And that's just, I loved his style, his lucha libre style, and how he carried himself around in the ring.
Yeah, it was really great how he did it, and honestly, it was a great testament to his family and everything they always did. So it was really great. Really good stuff. And Eddie Guerrero obviously went on to great accolades before his passing about 4 years later.
Definitely, which we'll be talking about here pretty soon.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that. Now, this next match here, we have Kurt Angle going up against Chris Benoit in a singles match.
Ooh, baby.
Damn, for just a singles match, almost 15 minutes or just shy of 15 minutes at 14 minutes and 4 seconds here.
Yep.
How did you like this match? Two technical wrestlers, Kurt Angle and Benoit, man. I said Benoit. I broke the third wall.
But you know what's great? This match arguably was probably the match of the night. There's only one other match I think that might have even had a chance to beat it out, and that was the main event. But this match was absolutely amazing beginning to end. This was when Kurt Angle was in his prime. This is when Chris Benoit was also in his prime. These guys were just tactical machines of wrestling and Carnage. They both were very stiff. They both worked very hard. They both always tried to be the biggest bull in the room and work harder than anybody else. And it showed in this match. And this, if you haven't seen this match, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 17, please go watch it. It is so amazing and really shows off their technical prowess in every type of way. And either one of them could have went over, but Kurt Angle obviously going over, and he ended up having his own rise to superstardom. He had already been champion at this point, so and Benoit wasn't too far away himself. So it's real great match.
Yeah, it definitely was a great match, because I definitely would check that out there. I recommend it there.
Mm-hmm.
Next match, we had China going up against Ivory in a single match for the WWE Women's Championship match. Mm-hmm. At 2 minutes and 39 seconds. But Bull Buchanan, the Good Father, Steven Richards, and Val Venus were banned from ringside.
Mm-hmm.
China, man, you get in the ring with her, and you're the size of Ivory. I'm going to have to steal this from the movie Aliens. Game over, man. Game over. What are your thoughts on this one, man?
Well, China was at her prime at this point, really coming out of her shell. She had already been so dominant, had already won the Intercontinental Championship, had already wrestled in the Royal Rumble. China was the woman to really start the women's revolution when you really think about it. And amazing what she did. This match, though, was garbage in so many ways. It literally was a squash match, and China ended up going over Ivory. It was just to put the strap on China. Ivory actually took time away from the ring after this, but still was a great moment for China.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a great moment for China.
Yeah,
but
this was the dud of WrestleMania 17.
The dud. Yeah, it pretty much was.
Well, this and one other thing, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Okay. Okay. I probably know what you're talking about, but
you probably do.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that there. Now, I'm always just on my microphone. Now we have this one right here. Let me pull this up here. Yeah, Shane McMahon going up against Vince McMahon, and you have Stephanie McMahon, Helmsley, and Trish Stratus. Basically, Stephanie, if jog my memory here, was Stephanie on Shane's side or her dad's side? It was no. She was with her brother.
No.
She was
it was her brother, and her mom were against everything Vince was doing, because at that point, that's when Vince started having his love affair with Trish Stratus off to the side. Because that's how Trish Stratus broke into WWE, was being the lap girl for Vince, which obviously she got paid back royally by being honestly one of the most accomplished women's wrestlers in WWE history. But they had that, and that's when they put Linda into the the delirious muteness or whatever it was, where she ended up being wheelchair ridden, could not leave a wheelchair, unable to walk, unable to speak, unable to respond, and they had to wheel her around. And yeah, Shane and Stephanie thought it was horrible, all that kind of stuff. But led into this match, this street fight between Shane McMahon and Mr. McMahon, with Mick Foley as special guest referee. And this is where you saw Linda McMahon raise up out of the chair and kick Vince McMahon right in the family jewels. And of course, the first time we ever saw Shane McMahon do the coast to coast, historic match in so many ways. And don't forget, Shane McMahon at this point was owner of WCW, so it was WCW storyline. Love it. Sorry, we've already broken enough kayfabe tonight, but it's truly historic, truly great, and it was amazing to see what they were able to pull off in that match.
Yeah, man. I remember that now because I was trying to jog my memory right there, and I did watch most of it last night before I went to sleep. Now, yeah, I remember that. What a freaking at this time, Chris. What a hell of a dysfunctional family story going on here. The father's trying to screw. Yeah, I'm serious, man. The father's trying to screw everything. The mom is pissed off at the husband because he can't keep it in his pants. The daughter is going crazy because of everything going on, and the son is like, "You're wrong, Dad," and the daughter's like, "Oh my God, just stop!" It's like, damn. But it made great television. It made great television, did it not?
Oh, it definitely did. It definitely did. And it made for a lot of excitement even after the fact, because this storyline carried on pretty much throughout most of the rest of the year up until Survivor Series of 2001. So, yeah, definitely was interesting all the way through. But I have to apologize to our fans listening right now, because I said that Angle and Benoit was possibly the match of the night on this card, and there's only one other match I could have touched it, and that was the main event. And I lied, because there was one other match I could touch it as well, and that is our next match.
Yes. What is our next match there, Chris?
That was TLC 2 between Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys. And this match was amazing in every single way. And this match, I think, is what eventually made me fall completely and utterly in love with professional wrestling again, and made me pursue my own career. Was seeing the crazy, insane crap that they did in this match, including putting Bubba Ray Dudley and Matt Hardy through double stack tables, ended up being 4 tables in total. You saw Jeff Hardy get speared by Edge from the actual hanging apparatus that they had for the belts all the way down into the ring. We saw what was it? Jeff Hardy do a swanton bomb on a rhino from the top of a massive ladder on the outside of the ring. Like, there's so many wonderful WrestleMania moments in this match, and it's so crazy to look at this now as we see the rundown of all those matches that we have for tonight's show. And this match was only just short of 16 minutes, and it was 16 minutes of just pure amazingness.
That's crazy, man. I remember that, man. This match here, dude. I thought these guys were going to kill each other. Did you not think someone was going to walk away out in a stretcher? Did you?
Oh, I absolutely thought someone was going to, given everything that was going on, but surprising no one did.
Yeah. And I don't know if you were familiar with this here, but this was the debut of Rhino in WWE.
It was, and a lot of people didn't realize that he got involved in the storyline, and this is how he got brought over. And it was done really, really well. But Rhino ended up going on to have all kinds of success, and still wrestled with WWE as recent, I think, as 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely great to see what he was able to do over the past 20 years with WWE.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, it's amazing. It's amazing what he's done there.
Now, do you remember when I told you, though, that there was a match that really sucked between Chyna and Ivory?
Yeah.
Our next match was the other match I mentioned that was the utter black eye of WrestleMania 17.
Oh, man. Don't say it. Don't say it, man.
That's right. The gimmick battle royal.
Oh, come on, man. I loved half these people that was in it. I loved these people with it.
But I didn't love the match.
One. Come on. You haven't seen these guys in a while.
Dude, when you have the Iron Sheik winning a match in a year that starts with the number 2, it's too old. All right? The Iron Sheik has no business being in a ring at this point. He ended up winning this gimmick battle royal over Hillbilly Jim.
Come on,
in
man.
2001.
You know what? Nowadays, okay, in 2020, you know what makes up for that is his Twitter. That's what it makes.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started. Where everything's in all caps and it's just yelling the F word at people. But what's even worse about this though, this was the first time WWE really started getting into the gimmick stuff.
Yeah.
Gimmick battle royals and doing things for nostalgia and doing all that. And this is where we saw the beginning of the end.
Pretty much so. But it's entertaining, man. It's entertaining. They even had freaking Bobby.
If that's what you call it.
Heenan. They had Bobby the Brain Heenan come back out with Mean Gene Okerlund doing commentary, dude. Come on.
That was cool. I'm not gonna lie. That was cool.
That was freaking.
I mean, you got to be gimmicky when you're doing a gimmick battle royal. So
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. You gotta have that. You definitely gotta have that. But this. It was a gimmick. Okay, it was a gimmick battle royal. They had their gimmick match. That's pretty much it now. Pretty much it though. But I like this next match.
Oh yes.
Yes, I'm talking about the Undertaker going up against Triple H in a singles match here. This is the second longest match of the night with 18 minutes and 19 seconds here.
That's right.
This pretty much was almost around this last time at a Mania you would see the American Badass gimmick. Was it not?
No, you would see it. Oh, hold on. The American Badass gimmick was still around for another 2 years before it went under and then came back at WrestleMania 20. Because at 18, I don't remember who he wrestled at 18 to save my life, to be honest.
Me neither. Oh,
I want to say it was one of the NWO, but I can't remember.
No. He was in a handicap match. Remember?
No, that was 19.
No. Okay.
Because it was supposed to be a tag match at 19, but that's when that crazy guy, I can't remember his name to save my life now, that they were supposed to bring in from Australia, got hurt and ended up wrestling a handicap match.
Yeah, we'll get more to that there later.
We're jumping manias now. We got to stay focused.
We're jumping ahead to there.
Damn it, Everett Lee.
I was just trying to point out some actual facts, which I'm rusty on. So fans, don't hate me. Don't hate me.
You kill me.
Hey.
But still, this match, though, was so classic because this was also one of the last times Undertaker and Triple H actually worked each other, I think, for almost 10 years. Yeah. Undertaker and Triple H notoriously had bad backstage beef with each other for multitudes of reasons. Taker has always, I guess, been in the opinion that Triple H kind of slept his way to the top, even though he just married the boss's daughter. But I guess that's kind of the same, right? So... At the end of the day, though, this was a really good match. They wrestled all over the arena. Saw guys getting choke slammed off the top of scaffolding and reverse tombstones, sledgehammers being pulled out, all kinds of crazy stuff. I remember watching this match live, and I had never cheered so hard in a match until the next match ever before. And it was such an exciting thrill ride. And remember, that's when Triple H came out to Motorhead and, of course, Taker with his motorcycle. So it was still such a great show. And Taker ended up going over.
Yeah.
Keeping that undisputed Feek alive at the time, which wasn't even really advertised until like 2 or 3 years later.
I know. No one, he pretty much kept it alive there. And I definitely agree with you. They didn't really advertise it, that this guy got a streak going on. This guy has a streak going on. And they never really did mention that until he, I don't know what else to say. I did like this match because I like how they went out in the crowd, Chris, and they brawled all over the damn place. That's what I loved about this.
Everywhere, and they ended up on the top of one of the static cam. Well, not really a static cam, but it's one of their main camera rigs that they usually set up on top of a large 2-story scaffolding structure. And they went to the top of that when battling each other. Like, it was crazy the things they did for this match. So I haven't really seen them wrestle like that all over the arena. And honestly, I can think of very few times that were this amazing with how they did it. So really good stuff.
Yeah. It definitely is some really, really good stuff here. Now, the main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin going up against The Rock. What? And a no DQ match. What? For the WWE Championship at 28 minutes and 8 seconds of ass kicking and mud hole stomping. Give me a hell yeah.
I like how you're doing your own soundboard work now.
Yeah, got to.
This match was so amazing on so many levels, not even just for the match itself, but just the build-up. I remember this being like one of the most epic build-ups to a match I had ever seen. And I still remember the SmackDown, I think it was a week or two before Mania, where they were trying to have a standoff in the ring, a little stare down or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Stone Cold, cracks a couple Steve Weisers and just smacks one into the Rock's chest, gets it all over him. Rock takes the beer, and Rock cheers back and gets beer all over Stone Cold. And the next thing you know, they're just brawling all over the arena. The hype video was great. The whole entire clip package they had for this was great. The match was amazing, as well as the finish, because this was also led to one of the most talked about heel turns in wrestling history. This was like on the level of Hulk Hogan going heel and aligning himself with the devil, except Stone Cold did align himself with the devil in Mr. McMahon, because we saw Vince McMahon come down to ringside during this match thinking maybe he's going to help Rock or whatever the case may be. And next thing you know, he's giving a chair to Stone Cold, and they're brutalizing the Rock. And then next thing you know, Stone Cold's WWE champion holding beers and arms up with Mr. McMahon. So was such a huge turn. And of course, remember the next night on Raw, how crazy that was, because that's when it took the next step when they formed the two-man power trip. So absolutely crazy how this match went and how it ended.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was crazy how this happened right here. I'm trying to pull up right here what Stone Cold said about his heel turn here. I'm trying to pull that up here. From what I can remember, what Stone Cold said at the time was for the fact that he wished he would not have done that at that time.
Yeah.
He wished he would have not have done it because he was so hot as a face. And in him turning heel at that time, he said, God dang, I should have not done it. But also, you would have thought, and a lot of people still comment on this today, they said at the end of that WrestleMania, Chris, when he's sharing a beer with Stone Cold, or Stone Cold's sharing a beer with Vince, everyone is expecting Stone Cold to give him a stunner and say, but it didn't happen. It did not happen.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, where's that stunner to Vince after 17? Where is it? And it didn't happen. It did not happen there. But I remember that. I'll tell you, let me share a personal story here. God rest my dad, and he passed away in 2012. When they built up to this match, he was Stone Cold all the way. The following night on Raw, when he came out and did all the stuff he did, my father flew off that chair of mine, and I was like, oh God, here we go, 1980s. There goes another TV because of Jim Cornette and Ric Flair. My old man flew off, and he looked at the TV, and he's giving it the bird, and my dad was like, fuck you, Austin, you son of a bitch, you're with the fucking devil. I'll never forget that. The old man was pissed.
Oh, I bet.
He was pissed, man. I've seen my dad over the years get pissed off at wrestling growing up, but god dang, Chris, at about 70-something years old, this guy was ready to take that TV and throw it out the freaking front door. I was like, me and my brother were rolling. We're laughing. And he looks back at us and he's like, you think that's fucking funny, don't you? We're like, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. But, yeah, it was one of the greatest, one of the most talked about heel turns here in history right now.
In history. That was Hulk Hogan level.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was like Hulk Hogan level right there. But WrestleMania 17, it has a place in our hearts right here. But let me pull up the match card here for this next one here, WrestleMania 19.
Oh yeah, I already got it up. This one was a good one. It's taking place at Safeco Field, March 30th, I believe it was. Yeah, March 30th, 2003. Where am I at right now? Anyways, Safeco Field, great show. Yeah, WrestleMania 19. Actually, hold on. I almost have it right there. It is.
There you go. Look at that cover. Look at that cover, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that cover right there. And those viewing right now, I mean, look at that cover, but also those listening for the audio portion of this podcast. Chris Carnage is holding up his DVD collection of WrestleMania, and it has Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan on the front there. WrestleMania 19, March 30th, 2003.
An interesting note, this was the year also with their DVD collection for WWE where they actually did a joint spine image for all the spines for the 2003 series of pay-per-views. With this being WrestleMania, this only had like the back end of the two.
Uh-huh. Oh, nice.
So, yeah, they had all the pay-per-views listed right at the bottom of the DVD, and then all the spines created one large image that was a lot of wrestling images put into the year 2003.
No, nice. Nice. I like that. I like that. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty amazing. WrestleMania 19, the reason why we picked this on this list right here, because you probably know why if you follow with the main event for WrestleMania right here, the main event.
Well, there's a lot of reasons, just the main event. The main event really was amazing, but there was a lot of classics on this.
Yeah, there's a lot of good matches on here, and this right here was in the hype. Would you agree with me? This right here was about in the hype of the Ruthless Aggression era.
Ooh, yeah, this was probably at that pinnacle, and then over the course of the next 2 years, it tapered off into a new era, and then really changed in 08. But this, we saw the real pinnacle of it all, of what really could happen. This was at the height of what Kurt Angle was able to do as a competitor. Brock Lesnar was at his height at this time. The Rock was just coming off of his height. This also was the last match for Stone Cold. So there was like so many crazy things that were happening with this, as well as the continuing domination of Triple H at this time, where he was basically handed the kingdom. So a lot of great stuff on this, and it all kicked off with a World Tag Team Championship match that actually was on Sunday Night Heat as part of their, at the time, pre-show, with Chief Morley and Lance Storm taking on Kane and Rob Van Dam. Kane and Rob Van Dam ended up not winning this, but ended up regaining those titles later on Raw. But the only reason Chief Morley and Lance Storm won was also because of the Dudley Boys. So it was only a 7-minute match, a pretty decent match, but went to Chief Morley and Lance Storm.
Yeah, pretty much it did. It went to those guys right there. But the one thing I liked was the next match.
Mm-hmm.
Was the next match here was Matt Hardy with Shannon Moore going up against Rey Mysterio in a singles match for the Cruiserweight Championship, the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, which was a 5-minute and 37-second match there.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it was a pretty decent match, too. Ended with the usual foul play by Matt Hardy and his number one disciple, Shannon Moore, because this is V1 Matt Hardy at the time. And Matt Hardy ended up going over, but still was a very, very entertaining match. Rey Mysterio wearing his Daredevil gear in this match was really entertaining from start to finish.
Mm-hmm. It was really entertaining, and I really loved Matt Hardy at this time here, because they broke up the Hardy Boys. It's been probably about a couple years since the Hardy Boys were together, and
at this point it had been probably about a year and a half,
and pretty much Matt wanted to have Jeff do what Shannon Moore was doing, but Jeff broke off and did his own thing. But he found Shannon Moore, and Shannon Moore basically followed Matt Hardy around. And I loved Matt Hardy at this time, how his character was and his ego. I loved it. The thing we talked about earlier with the handicap match, 1-on-2, We can talk about that now, Chris. Undertaker. He was the third match on this card, which just gets me. The third match on this card here. He went up against Big Show and A-Train in a 1-on-2 handicap match at 9 minutes and 42 seconds here. Chris, what was it you were talking about with this one right here about Nathan Jones?
Nathan Jones,
I remember.
Nathan Jones was an ex-convict from Australia who was huge and a former bodybuilder and fighter who ended up being brought into WWE as an extremely failed project as he was out of the company less than, I think, 3 or 4 months later. I think he only officially wrestled maybe 2 or 3 matches. But yeah, it ended up being nothing. So ended up coming at before the show, Nathan Jones somehow got hurt backstage, and Taker ended up having to go out alone in a handicap match against Big Show and A-Train, who were huge men. And this was still a very back and forth match, Taker being able to take the offensive here and there, but started getting beaten down near the end. Nathan Jones ended up doing a run-in to help Undertaker end up winning this match. This match really, people don't realize, this was only Taker's, I believe, 9th match at Mania. So with that in mind, Taker actually almost lost this match. It was almost decided that he was going to lose this match after they pulled Nathan Jones, that they were going to try and go the heel angle. But it was very last minute that Vince decided he wanted Taker to go over because he felt that Taker was way too established of a character to lose to Big Show and A-Train, especially if Nathan Jones ran in. So we almost saw the streak never happen because of this match.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That would have been something you think about. Yeah, remember WrestleMania 19 when Taker streak got broke, but that didn't happen.
It's only 9-0. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy. So I'm glad Vince made the right call. He was smart about that, was he not?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even though that match was what it was, the next match is arguably probably one of the best women's matches ever at WrestleMania. And it's honestly one of the reasons why I also put this WrestleMania in my top 5. Because Trish Stratus versus the champion Victoria versus Jazz was absolutely amazing in every way. Yeah, triple threat, and I love triple threat matches. I loved working them. I loved watching them. I love everything about triple threat matches. And there was only one botch in this whole match, but it was one of those things you couldn't really avoid, so it ended up being what it was. But other than that, this match was perfect.
This match ran about, let me pull this back up here.
7 minutes and 17 seconds.
Yes, for the WWE Women's Championship. This match right here, it showed each range of each wrestler, talent, worker, each worker. It showed the range of what they can do in a triple threat match. And Jazz, man, at that time, if you remember, Chris, Jazz was a force not to be reckoned with. And you had someone at Trish's size and caliber coming in here, Chris, that actually came in and was like, I don't care how big or small, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to whip your ass and I'm going to take you that championship. Because Jazz was like the precursor to Beth Phoenix. Like, she was just like a freak of nature. And what's crazy, and this is how deep my wrestling fandom goes, Jazz used to work promotions up in the New Jersey area back literally only a couple of years going into her WWE contract. And she was brutal, like absolutely brutal. Good, technical, and really sharp, but brutal with how she wrestled. And it still showed in her WWE work, especially when she was able to work great talent like Victoria and Trish Stratus. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was a good worker. I wish she would have lasted longer, though. But this right here, if you're looking at a match that has to do with Jazz in WWE, this would be the match right here I would definitely recommend. Would you not recommend this match here?
Absolutely, in every way.
Absolutely. Now, this next match was Team Angle. Charlie Haas, Sheldon Benjamin going up against Chris Benoit and Rhino and Los Guerreros, Chavo Guerrero and Eddie Guerrero for the triple threat match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. which lasted about 8 minutes and 48 seconds here. All I got to say is that Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, Team Angle, they were pretty hot. Those guys were put in a position to where to make Angle look good. But they did such a good job, Chris. They actually made themselves look even better as a tag team, did they not?
Definitely, and it was really crazy how this whole match actually went down because Chris Benoit and Rhino tagging was something that wasn't necessarily in the cards at this time, but it ended up just kind of happening because of the chemistry they had with having worked each other. Of course, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, and then the Guerreros, being the family bloodline they had. This match actually was a really, really good match, very entertaining start to finish. And Team Angle, not too surprising they went over. Team Angle's really getting pushed hard at this time, so what better way to make them look good than by beating Benoit and Rhino and, of course, Los Guerreros.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, pretty much Team Angle, they went ahead and defeated both those teams, and they captured the WWE Tag Team Championship, which would be the first of the gold for Team Angle.
Oh, yes.
Or actually, no.
Well, they came in with all the gold.
They came in with all the gold.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
The next match, though, is one I really want to talk about. This match I really hold near and dear to my heart. This match is an amazing match between none other than Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho being a huge fan of Shawn Michaels, coming up through the circuit, finally getting his match against Shawn Michaels. This was the longest match on the card, ended up being 22 and a half minutes long, and this match was amazing from start to finish, and even the after-match antics were amazing. It was truly amazing. Jericho said of this match that this was like going in and wrestling his hero, and all the kayfabe aside, he said this was probably one of the most important matches of his entire career. Of course it was. Look at the angle, look at the story, look at the build up for this match here. Shawn Michaels even brought his wife into this angle. That's how important this was, because I think Shawn Michaels knew how important it was for him, and he knew how important it was for Chris Jericho. And basically, they put on one hell of a match here, because anything that Jericho did, Shawn Michaels countered. And anything that Shawn did, Jericho countered. So it was almost like Jericho's wrestling style. I was like, God dang, he's wrestling just like Shawn Michaels, was he not? Yep, he absolutely was, and they were complimenting each other so well throughout the entire match. It was great.
It was such a great match here. This match was just freaking, I loved it. I remember this. I remember the build up and everything to it and stuff. And Jericho, man, he came off, the crowd hated his ass so much, did they not?
They did. They really did.
They hated him. They hated him so much, but he ran with it and he made it the best it was there. But Shawn Michaels ended up defeating him at 22 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yep, and this was Jericho's second loss in a row at Mania, because don't forget the year before he had defended the undisputed title against Triple H and lost in the main event. Yeah,
little fun fact there. Everyone who's come out with the band that does their theme music has lost, except Triple H.
I mean, he's the boss now. Why would he lose?
Yeah,
but speaking of Triple H, the next match featured Triple H defending his World Heavyweight Championship with Ric Flair in his corner against Booker T. This match was very interesting in a lot of ways. It was one of the few times Triple H actually wore tights that were not black, as he had donned his royal purples.
Yes.
But another thing with this match that was very interesting is that they had pushed this with almost a racial undertone, which one of the few times in the more modern era of professional wrestling in WWE where they did so, because they really pushed Booker T as being from Houston, being from the streets, being that guy who was able to come against all odds and be able to get in a position to take on the former Connecticut Blue Blood with arguably the most famous professional wrestler in his corner, and Ric Flair, the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer that he would become.
Woo.
And it was just so interesting how they worked that angle. And like I said, a lot of racial undertones with this. Booker T coming out really genuine and real as a person rather than as his character. So it was very interesting they pushed it that way. But Triple H inevitably ended up going over.
He did. He definitely did. I remember that with the change up and everything of Triple H and him having Ric Flair at that time and stuff. And we know if you watch the Ruthless Aggression Era series on WWE Network, when they talk about the evolution during the Ruthless Aggression Era, you know why Triple H and Ric Flair together. And I'm going to keep it like that. Booker T, I was going to say, you just did not say that, sucker.
Sucker.
I loved it. Yeah, this match, everything that you said about it, it's just, Booker T was more real in this match than what you would expected. And that's why this match turned out pretty damn great and like it did there. But
definitely did.
Triple H ended up defeating Booker T, and he went on and pretty much at this time, Evolution was Evolution. This was like at the beginning of Evolution.
Evolution debuted almost right after this.
Yeah.
This was what pretty much led into the formation of Evolution. Was Triple H touting how he beat Booker T. So from here, Booker T though ended up being moved to SmackDown. Ended up in the U.S. title feud. Ended up having the best of 7 series against. Oh my goodness, why can't I even think of it right now? Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
And then had those U.S. title matches. So he ended up being put in that scene and then eventually won a World Heavyweight title again after he won King of the Ring. So Booker T still ended up finding a lot of good success after this. But I think it's time that we talk about our next match, which was our DVD cover match.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, right there. Talking about, let me keep the camera on you while I say this here. Talking about Hulk Hogan, brother, going up against
brother.
Vince McMahon in a street fight, brother. And if Hogan lost, na, hey, good.
Get out of the arena. Oh, sorry.
Get out of the arena. Retire. Hogan had to retire. Now, if you think about how much story, Chris, they put into this, god dang.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
God dang. More kayfabe and fiction, or kayfabe and realism into this, because they also threw in for the fact that when Hogan left, they didn't mention about how Hogan left to go pursue an acting career for like a show like Thunder in Paradise. It was, Vince was like, Hogan left and he went to Ted Turner. You know, that's what I laugh about this. Remember that? Remember that?
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing I laugh about this one right here. But this match right here, it was one of those matches you wanted to see. Vince bringing up basically stuff that you shouldn't bring up, and then Hogan reacting to it, and Hogan basically like, you know what, we're gonna have a match at WrestleMania. I'm gonna whip your ass, brother.
Oh man, yeah, it was so ridiculous how this was built, and they said it was like what 10 or 12 years or whatever it was in the making, and it was absolutely ridiculous just because they're not the best promo cutters, so a lot of the lead up was just kind of funny, but like it was serious at the same time. But the match itself was absolutely brutal, and they did all kinds of things, leg drops off of ladders through tables and all kinds of crazy stuff. And this ended up being a 20-minute match. It was our third longest match of the night, and Hulk Hogan ended up coming out on top. I still remember the blood just across his chest and all over his head. It was just crazy ridiculous.
Yeah, too much. I mean, thank God he didn't lose a lot of blood, But
Oh yeah.
I mean, at the age and everything he was at, you had two old men basically fighting over a bagel.
Oh, for sure. But let's not forget, this is also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of the last times Mr. McMahon actually wrestled in a match outside, I think, of WrestleMania 22. So another thing to keep note of.
Yeah, pretty much because I think the last couple of years with Shane McMahon, that street fight right there, that pretty much did it for him. So he was pretty much done there. Was pretty much done.
Between that and this match, he was pretty spent because the only other match he had was a street fight against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 22, and we know what kind of condition that left him in.
Yeah, we definitely know that. But I like to build up for this match and the history and everything between these two icons, and having it come to head at this here. But the next match. Very historic. Here's historic here because the story to this right here, it made you think about it here. I'm talking about The Rock going up against Stone Cold Steve Austin single match, which was at 17 minutes and 55 seconds. Now, Chris, Austin has beaten The Rock twice at this time at WrestleMania. And Rock said Rock has done it all. He went to Hollywood. He was in big movies. But the one thing he never did was whip that bald candy ass.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he has not done right there.
Yeah, this was Hollywood Rock at this point.
Yeah.
And
Hamburglar.
That's right, Hamburglar. But this was very, very historic, not only because this was the third and final meeting between these two at WrestleMania, but this was also Stone Cold Steve Austin's last match. Because of spinal stenosis and neck issues, he had to retire after this match. So this was the very last time we ever saw Stone Cold Steve Austin in a wrestling ring wrestling.
Yeah, the last time. And there was rumors going around about what was on the side of his vest he wore to the ring. It said, one more round, or it said, on my last rocker. People were coming up with stuff. You know, he said, one more round. That was it. He went on and had one hell of a match. What I like about this match, I went back a while back ago and watched it just for the hell of it. And The Rock came out on top and defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin. Everyone was shocked. They expected Austin to win. But if you think about it, that kind of closed the door in the chapter of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And why not have it with The Rock? That basically, with everything he's been through in his career, Rock just end it. And then him right off in the sunset. Why, WrestleMania, the biggest showcase of immortals in wrestling history. Why not have that be the closing chapter of your career and you just walk off in the sunset, though? But one thing I like about this match, I like how Austin used The Rock's finisher on him, and The Rock used Stone Cold's finisher on him. I was laughing. The Rock almost pulled it off.
Almost 3 times.
Yeah. Do you think The Rock executed Stone Cold's stunner better or just about as good as Austin?
I think they both did it beautifully to one another. It was gorgeous. But, really great stuff. And it was a really great match. Definitely saw him go tit for tat when it came to finishers in this one. Even The Rock putting on Stone Cold's vest. So it was really good, really entertaining.
Yeah, this was entertaining there. And I was shocked when Austin lost. And then when he left, the ovation and everything he got when he left and he walked out of the arena. That was great. That was great, though. But, I mean, everything you look up on Stone Cold, that speaks for itself after his WrestleMania match here. One of my favorite Stone Cold Rock Austin feud matches here, and how it didn't go like I planned. But I loved it. I definitely did love it there. But let's talk about another great 2 talents that was up and coming. You saw Chris with the match before, an end of an era. Let's move on. Two guys.
The new era.
The new era. Both of these guys did fantastic in this new era. Talking about Brock Lesnar going up against Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship match here. Had Angle been counted out or disqualified, he would have lost the title. And Angle was a heel at the time. People still loved him. And then Lesnar was a badass heel. And then he turned face, and people even loved him more. So,
it was a crazy time where it was like so easy to change face and heel. Like, you can change it like your underwear, man. It was crazy then.
It was crazy. It was crazy here. The one moment out of this match, Chris, shooting star press.
Okay.
Shooting star press. You want to follow up on that?
All right. So before we get to the shooting star press, this match overall was an amazing match, start to finish. Great chemistry. Two of the stiffest guys in the industry. Two of the most talented guys in the industry at this point. Which led us eventually to Brock Lesnar trying to go for the shooting star press. The shooting star press was supposed to be the finish for this match. What ended up happening, though, is Brock Lesnar... Well, first off, Kurt Angle's too far away. Brock Lesnar misjudged how far away he was. Went for the shooting star press. Now, keep in mind, Brock Lesnar had done the shooting star press a bunch of times in OVW as a regular move. So he was very well versed in it. Hadn't pulled it out in a couple of years, mind you, but still was very well versed at it. Didn't get enough rotation and landed pretty much straight up on his face, giving himself a massive concussion, but still was in a frame of mind to cover Angle, kick out, pick him up, F5 him, and win the match. Now, with how that worked out, with how a lot of the documentaries go, a lot of the guys were very worried about Lesnar. It's your top horse who was supposed to be winning the title, is now got a busted tire. So a lot of people were really worried. But Lesnar is an animal. Dude's a freak. So I'm not surprised how he bounced back. He did take a lot of time off after this, though. I think him and Angle both were out because both of them got injured from this match and were out, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks each. Angle ended up out a little bit longer than Lesnar, but it was such an amazing match, and I always wonder what would have happened if Brock Lesnar had actually hit that shooting star press.
Same here. I wonder what the hell would happen. The finish would probably have been a lot different, and
probably a lot different.
Yeah, a lot different with what you've seen, but I thought Lesnar broke his damn neck, man. I thought he broke his neck. I was like, God dang, look at this guy doing shooting star press. Kurt Angle did the same thing, about broke his neck too. These guys, it showed how much passion that these guys cared for what they did in this company here. And Lesnar winning that championship after everything he went through that year was like, damn, we're going a new direction with this new talent here. But pretty much one of my favorite WrestleMania matches right here. And it ended up being a 21 minute and 07 second match there. And pretty much WrestleMania 19. Damn, dude. This great show. But when it comes to WrestleMania, let me go ahead and put the camera on you right here, right there. When it comes to WrestleMania, nothing is like a 10-year anniversary to the first one, or a 20-year.
Oh, you mean this one?
Let me pull this up here. Do I still have the camera on you?
I don't know.
Yes, I do. I have that one. One of my favorites.
I have 2 copies of this. One's a collector's edition. One's the normal edition.
Damn you. Talking about WrestleMania 20 right there. As you see Chris Carnage here holding up in his hand right there. WrestleMania 20 right there is such a great pay-per-view with a lot of matches. That's why it's made it onto our list right here. This one right here took place where it all started, Chris. It started at the Showcase of Immortals at Madison Square Garden. One of my favorite WrestleManias. For the fact is, the storylines for this WrestleMania, Chris, was freaking phenomenal. No pun intended.
Haha.
We kicked off this match here at Madison Square Gardens for WrestleMania 20 with
That's right.
John Cena going up against the Big Show for the United States Championship. One of my favorite John Cena matches. Yes, I have favorite John Cena matches. One of my favorites, and you should know why.
Oh, yeah.
This match right here, John Cena was hot. He was basically making that flip, that twist from heel to face. And why not have it against Big Show for the United States Championship?
Totally makes sense.
During this match here, a lot of stuff was going on. Big Show dominating. Big Show being Big Show. Then Cena started getting upper hand. The turning point of this match, man, was for the fact that you seen Cena grab his chain that he'd come out the ring with, knock out Big Show, hoist 500 pounds up on his shoulders. No one has ever at this point handled the freaking Big Show like that. When I was sitting there watching this,
other than Brock Lesnar, but you know,
I came off my seat. I was like, God dang! I was like, look at this guy. My brother was like, oh my God, John Cena. That's what made John like John Cena a lot. F5 his ass. 1, 2, 3. Win his first championship, the United States Championship. Man, what are your thoughts on this, man? This match here.
Historic. It was John Cena's very first Mania because John Cena was actually injured and could not wrestle at WrestleMania 19, which a lot of people didn't realize that either. But John Cena finally made his debut this year and was able to have a great match with Big Show, real back and forth. Big Show coming out big early, but yeah, Cena going out and giving him a big old FU, or sorry, what is it now? The attitude adjustment or whatever he's calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny how he renames it that. But John Cena going over and capturing his first title on the grandest stage of them all, really setting the stage for the rest of his career. Really huge and historic unto itself.
Yeah, this pay-per-view right here, I mean, this opening match right here was just freaking great here. I loved it. And it ran for about 9 minutes and 14 seconds, and John Cena captured his first championship gold, the United States Championship, and he went on to great things with this. He definitely did.
But in our next match, though, we saw a tag team keep their gold when we saw Booker T and Rob Van Dam coming in as the champions, taking on the Dudley Boys, Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak, and La Resistance. Back then, there was a lot of tag teams at the time. Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak were a random one put together. Both of them were out of company within a year. But the Dudley Boys still were making it happen. La Resistance was a decent little tag team at the time as well. Ended up winning some tag gold. But Booker T and Rob Van Dam was one of those random tag teams that just had really good chemistry together. And it was really crazy to see what they were able to do in the ring together.
Yeah, definitely. What a take, like I said, within a year or a couple of years. I mean, hell, he was wrestling at 17 or 3 years. Triple H for World Heavyweight Championship. 3 years later, he's put together Rob Van Dam going after the tag team championships, man. What a change of events right there.
That's what I'm saying. And you got to keep in mind, too, with Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and Kane all ended up in some type of tag team with one another at one point or another. Booker T and Rob Van Dam and Kane in 2003 as well, and Kane and Booker T. A lot of people don't realize that they actually were a tag team at one point as well. So really crazy to see how everybody ended up kind of just, going through the tag team shuffle.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. But there was only one winner in this match, which was surprisingly Booker T and Rob Van Dam.
That's right.
The other three teams to win the World Tag Team Championships. And they went on to, they held on to the titles there for a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a little run with it before they dropped them. I think to La Resistance a little later on. So definitely not too surprised to see how that worked out. But in our next match, this was one that was kind of interesting in a lot of ways. Christian taking on Chris Jericho as part of a lovers' quarrel over Trish Stratus. So it was quite an interesting angle they took with this one. We haven't seen Jericho involved in too many love angles, but it was interesting to see how this ended up playing out all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely did, Chris. It definitely did learn. Yeah, you learn and seeing how this played out right here. I mean, this match lasted about 15 minutes and 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, with a lover's quarrel.
Best way to put it.
It was, I mean, what else can you say? What else can you say? Trish Stratus going with Christian over Jericho. Screwing him out. There you go. There you go. Basically, there you go. Not much more to say, huh?
Not a whole lot to say about that one. But our next match, though, very exciting. It was a handicap tag team match between Evolution, being made up of Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair, taking on the Rock and Sock Connection of Mick Foley and the Rock, reuniting for this match. And let's not forget this WrestleMania 20. This was Randy Orton's debut WrestleMania match as well.
Yeah, I loved how the Rock was feuding with, was it Mick Foley?
Yeah, at one point they were feuding, and that's how you ended up with like the tense tag team that they had, and you ended up with the "This Is My Life" segment and all that kind of stuff back in the late '90s. So to see him roll into this, you saw Mick Foley was feuding heavily with Evolution. The Rock had already taken a step away at this point. He hadn't wrestled a match actually since Backlash of 2003 when he wrestled Goldberg. So it had been almost a year since The Rock had wrestled. So it was really great to see The Rock come back in Mick Foley's corner and do this match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Mick Foley, and then he called in The Rock, and everyone's like, yeah, The Rock and Sock Connection is going to defeat Evolution. No. No. I had high hopes for this, Chris, and it was shattered. I was so pissed. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I was wanting Rock and Sock to win here, but you know what? Evolution, I'm glad they went over because they ended up going on to great things. It ended up a 17-minute even match right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much just even there. But next match.
One of two black eyes.
Tori Wilson and Sable going up against Miss Jackie and Stacy Keibler in a Playboy evening gown match at 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Well, damn, I wish I had my soundboard now for this.
Oh, don't worry, I got you covered.
Now, the one thing about this here, okay. Let me look at this match card here. I just had it on my thought here. Okay. You have Tori Wilson, Sable, Miss Jackie, and Stacy Keibler. 2 out of the 2 were in Playboy at that time. And these were basically the last 2 almost. No. Maria. That's later on down the road there. That ended up having that relationship with Playboy where we had divas at that time showing up in the pages of Playboy. And then every 14-year-old, 13-year-old at the time was like, hey, Dad, can you go to the store and get me a Playboy? You know? But, yeah, the match was kind of like, whatever. Because they were still in that divas, thing. But Chavo Guerrero with Chavo Classic defeated Akko Billy Kidman, Funaki, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, Rey Mysterio, Shannon Moore, Tajiri, and Ultimo Dragon.
Yes. This was the Cruiserweight Open for the Cruiserweight Championship.
God dang, man. What the hell happened in this match, Chris?
A train wreck to the max. That's really what this match was in a lot of ways, just because of the fact that, like, this was literally just a throw together match. They threw a lot of these guys in here kind of last minute in a lot of cases. But it literally was just supposed to be a filler match, and Chavo Guerrero ended up retaining the title at the end of it. So, was what it was, but it was pretty entertaining for what it was.
11 minutes and 31 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, it was entertaining, though, but you're like, God dang, what the hell am I watching here? What am I watching? So, pretty much what you see is what you get. Goldberg.
Oh, the other black eye of this show?
Yeah. Hey, Goldberg. Going up against Brock Lesnar in a singles match with Stone Cold Steve Austin as a special guest referee at 13 minutes and 43 seconds. Now, if you don't do what Stone Cold does, he's going to stun your ass and stump a mud hole in you and walk you dry.
Yeah, this match was a travesty.
Now, let me just mention one thing about this, Chris. Remember back before, I think this was, what year was this right here? Refresh me.
2004.
Okay. Remember back in the day, before the internet, before dirt sheets and everything?
Oh, yeah, and you had to call the little call line and try and get any little rumors you could?
Yeah. Basically, the internet was starting to go in full swing at this time, Chris. And it came out that Lesnar was going to UFC and Goldberg was leaving. And
actually, Lesnar was not going to UFC, not yet. At this point, Lesnar left and went and tried his hand at the NFL. Ended up getting on the Minnesota Vikings training squad wearing number 69. But during joint practices with the Kansas City Chiefs, he kept getting into fights with the other players. So he ended up being cut by week 3 of the preseason, then went to K1 Pride, and then ended up in UFC.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that right there.
Got you covered, bro.
Thank you. Goldberg, on the other hand, he was pretty much done. He was pretty much done with everything they were doing with him and his character at WWE at that time, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he ended up stepping away, and I believe was doing television.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much he was done. The crowd's reaction. Now, let me ask you, if the internet and no one at that time knew what was going on, and the internet did not exist like it did now, how do you think this match would have went?
I think it still would have been a shit show, only because Goldberg and Lesnar both were not in it. And that's the issue.
Okay.
They both were leaving. Both didn't want. Goldberg was more of a last minute thing. People knew Lesnar was out the door. But at this point, Goldberg was always more of a quiet person. So not a lot of people knew always what was going on in his head. So they found out, I believe, the week of WrestleMania that he was going to be leaving after this match.
Pretty much he was done with. So, but I tell you, I like the finish with Stone Cold Steve Austin giving them both stunners and just.
That's very right.
Pretty much that was pretty much all that he could do. And yeah, I mean, just a shitstorm of a match, right?
Oh yeah, definitely was a shitstorm from the start to finish.
Yeah. Definitely was. Next match, he had Rikishi. Yeah, I need the glasses. Rikishi and Scotty
You okay there?
Hottie. What?
You okay there?
Yeah. I told you my eyesight. Rikishi and Scotty Too Hottie going up against APA, the Basham brothers. I remember those guys.
Yeah, Danny and Doug.
Danny and Doug Basham. And the world's greatest tag team. Who is the world's greatest tag team?
Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin.
Bingo. Fatal 4-way for the WWE Tag Team Championship match. at 6 minutes and 8 seconds here. Chris?
Oh yeah. This was a cool down match. This match was only 6 minutes long with 4 teams, so I can tell you that everybody got only like a couple of minutes each in this match. So you also had the champions retain. This was a match. It was a solid match, but it was not meant to be anything more than a cool down match after Lesnar and Goldberg. So it was what it was, and you saw Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty go over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pretty much seen those guys go over because of the pay-per-view here, this match here. But I mean, fatal 4-ways for the tag team title match. How do you feel about those? How do you feel actually about those?
I think they're usually clusters. Like, it's. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that you had 2 fatal 4-way matches for the tag titles. You had the World Tag Team titles defended earlier with the champions retaining, and then you get the WWE Tag Team titles in a fatal 4-way with the champions retaining. So it was like, I felt like it was more filler, but it's still like somewhat entertaining matches and like cool stuff. So, I mean, it is what it is, but generally I try to stay away from those kind of matches.
I agree. I definitely agree. Now, the match after that, we had the hair versus title match for the WWE Championship match. You had Victoria going up against Molly Holly. Victoria, all the way up until this moment, Chris, she was a heel. No one cared. Hated her. Then they flipped her face and put her up against Molly Holly because she was with Right to Censor, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's the big thing, is that this ended up being so polarizing, and more polarizing than people thought. And Molly Holly went all in, losing that hair after she lost to Victoria in this match. And it wasn't the longest match. It was only about a 7-minute match, but still, it was a very, very solid match. Victoria and Molly Holly were very consummate professionals, especially at this time. So very well worked match. And oh man, seeing Molly Holly get her hair shaved off was honestly classic.
Yeah, it definitely was a classic right there, seeing that happen to her. But Victoria, how do you flip her from being a heel to a face? Hey, put her up against someone like Molly Holly because everyone freaking hates her.
And Molly Holly was a great heel.
Yeah, she was. So there's how you get Victoria over, and it worked. It definitely worked, man. Eddie Guerrero, dude, going up against Kurt Angle in a singles match for the WWE Championship at 21 minutes and 36 seconds.
Yep. Second year in the row, Kurt Angle is wrestling for the title.
Crazy. What's your take on this one?
This match was classic. Eddie Guerrero was really coming out of his shell and was already champion at this point, had already beaten Brock Lesnar the month previous at No Way Out. So Eddie Guerrero was at the highest of highs right now during this time. And when he wrestled Angle is just amazing. That guy can make anybody look good. And they had a great match with a great finish with Eddie Guerrero slipping out of his boot while being put in the ankle lock and ended up being able to hit the frog splash. And it was a really great match. And Eddie Guerrero coming out on top as champion. I cannot English right now. I think it's getting too late. I see my senioritis is showing.
Your trip, man.
At least it's not coronavirus. But at the end of the day, though, still great match, and this one was probably one of the better matches of the entire show.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I definitely agree right there. I love the finish. How Eddie, dude, Eddie in the boot, boom. There you go.
So classic.
So classic right there. And he pretty much wins. I mean, his WWE Championship, but you have the Undertaker, the dead man, the Undertaker you remember from back then, coming back, resurrecting and going against Kane in a single match, which was about 7 minutes and 47 seconds here. Dude, the Undertaker coming back as he did.
So just a quick Just a quick interruption, real quick, because my co-host at Final Score kind of already pulled the trigger on it. It was already announced just now, or actually a little bit ago. Final Score will be going live here soon. You want to know what for?
What's that?
It's going to be exciting. So, Final Score this Sunday will be having a selection episode where we're going to select 64 sports movies to be a part of our sports movie tournament called Sports Movie Madness between us and the Couch Dad podcast. So definitely make sure that you check out Final Score this weekend. Expect more info to drop tomorrow, but we will be going live Sunday night at 9 p.m. With the Couch Dad podcast and George over there. And it's going to be a great show as we pick the 64 sports movies that are going to be split into our 4 regions this Sunday night.
Damn. That right there is a lot of content, though, but be sure, please vote. Please.
Yeah, definitely vote. We should have hopefully a lot of that up this upcoming week, but we'll have more info Sunday night at 9 o'clock on Final Score episode 52, which we are now dubbing the Sports Movie Madness episode. So definitely make sure you check us out at PCN Final Score on Facebook.
Nice. I love it. I'm definitely going to vote and see what selections you guys have there. But anyone can, fans, vote. Please vote. But Undertaker going against Kane with Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer. Okay. Previous, like we talked about before, Chris, Undertaker. You haven't seen them together since the late 80s, early 90s, basically.
Yeah, about the early 90s, I believe, was the last time. WrestleMania 13, I think, is the most anomalous one that I can remember. But this was huge. Taker being buried alive at, I believe it was Survivor Series by Kane when Taker was having his match with Mr. McMahon. And now end up leading into this match. And I remember the clip packages being so epic and the lead up, people not believing that Taker was going to come back. And then they ended up coming back and having this great, almost 8-minute match, and was really, really entertaining. A lot of nostalgia.
Mm-hmm. That's what I loved about this match, man. Undertaker coming back. You didn't expect he was going to come back like he did. And he did. He came back and surprised a lot of people. And he still had it. He still definitely had it, man. And
oh yeah, for sure.
I loved it. I loved what he did right there.
And that was the return of the dead man.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much was. Now, final main event, triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Benoit going up against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And that went on from 24 minutes and 51 seconds with triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship there. Now, who's your pick to win this one?
Going into this, I was so hoping for Chris Benoit, but the lead up to this match was amazing. Chris Benoit having won the Royal Rumble from the number 1 spot. Goes all the way through, wins the Rumble, ends up challenging for the World Heavyweight title. And, of course, Shawn Michaels was already embroiled in this already, having his feud with Triple H at the time, which ended up kind of carrying over. He ended up getting his way into this match. A lot of things happened with Chris Benoit's position in this match. A lot of great storyline leading up. But this match was set to be basically Triple H for Shawn Michaels with Benoit in it, and that's how it was worked. And it was beautiful how they worked this match. Instant classic. Again, you know how I love my triple threat matches, and it was really great to see how this one was worked. So much intrigue, so many surprises, and of course Benoit winning it with the crippler crossface on Triple H, on the champion, to end up win his first ever World Heavyweight Championship. Was such an awesome moment to see. And I know a lot of people are sitting here probably with their own viewpoints listening to me go on about Benoit. Listen, what the guy did was horrible, okay, outside of the ring. However, for what he did inside of it, he was one of the best to ever step inside of a wrestling ring in the history of professional wrestling. And I will fight anybody over that. And trust me, my F5 is nastier than yours, so don't even try me. But at the end of the day, Benoit and what he did in this match was absolutely amazing. And of course, the moment we had with our WWE champion Eddie Guerrero and our world heavyweight champion Chris Benoit being able to embrace and hold their titles up at the closing of WrestleMania 20, at the granddaddy of them all, the 10-year anniversary of the 10-year anniversary. It was just one of the most iconic moments in professional wrestling.
Yeah, it definitely was, because that's what I love about 20, Chris. Just how it started off with a bang, and then it ended right there with two friends right there. Let me go screenshot that right there. Get the camera on me. There we go. Right there. Just a great pay-per-view right there. It's just fantastic, and everything about that right there, which I love, and I'm sure a lot of people would love as well. But Chris, let's talk about. Oh God, you have it. Let's talk about this one right there. WrestleMania 30. This is the only pay-per-view, modern WWE pay-per-view on our top 5, and there's a big reason. Yes, there's a reason why, and yes, there's a reason why we picked this one for our top 5, and yes, you probably know that reason why. Don't you know why, Chris?
Yes, I do know why.
You do know why. You do know why. Because I brought this to your attention. The thing I like about WrestleMania 30, okay? Let me go ahead and pull up the match card here.
Yeah, while you do that, this took place April 6th, 2014 at the New Orleans Superdome, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, or if you're Hulk Hogan, it's the Silverdome, brother. So, remember to eat your vitamins and say your prayers. So this show was so amazing, start to finish, with a lot of firsts. Was a much smaller card than we've seen. Most of the Manias we've had on this list have been anywhere from 10 to 12 matches. This, including the pre-show match, is 8 matches long. So this is actually one of the shorter Manias in that respect. However, you had 4 matches go over 20 minutes. Daniel Bryan himself wrestled almost an hour's worth of wrestling in this show. So it's absolutely amazing to see what was done, as well as some of the historic moments. This Mania was historic on so many levels, from the streak to Daniel Bryan, even with what John Cena was able to accomplish, AJ Lee, and what even ended up happening to her after this show. Like so many epic moments. But I guess we got to start right from the top.
Yes.
And that was the pre-show match, which was damn it, why can't WWE get away from these? A fatal 4-way tag team elimination match for the WWE tag team titles. No wonder it's on the pre-show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Usos going up against Matadores. Yeah, Matadores with El Torre against the Real Americans with Zeb Coulter and Ryback. Curtis Axel and Ryback there. Fatal 4-way tag team match there. 16 minutes and 13 seconds there.
Mm-hmm.
The Usos, man, those guys were on fire.
You know what's funny, though?
Yeah.
This match actually wasn't bad. It's just, damn it, WWE, with yet another fatal 4-way tag team title match at Mania. Ugh.
It became
Give it
a
a rest.
topic. It became a topic, and it became a trend afterwards there. Did it not?
You know what's funny is that we jumped 10 years in Manias, and 10 years ago at WrestleMania 20, or before this show, we had 2 fatal 4-way tag matches for the tag titles. We're here 10 years later, and nothing's changed.
Pretty much. Pretty much,
gosh.
man. This is crazy.
And you know what's even funnier? You wanted to talk about parallels? WrestleMania 20 main event, triple threat match for the heavyweight title. WrestleMania 30, triple threat match for the heavyweight title. Just saying.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. But Usos defeated, and they captured the tag team championships, which was great at that time because of everything going on with the Usos.
Right.
Yeah. But here you go. Here's the match right here. You open up with Daniel Bryan coming out with 40, 50,000 people, 60,000. Yes. He comes out to the ring. Triple H comes out. And he gets a big pop. You're like, God damn.
Huge pop. And this was also when he came out on his little tricycle with his wife, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's just him. He came to the ring by himself. He walked to the ring, and she was there.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking the next year when he came out on his tricycle against Sting.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was the robots.
Yeah, that was...
I'm saying, it's always something ridiculous with Triple H nowadays.
Yeah, the Terminator thing. No, but yeah. But Daniel Bryan goes up against a match against Triple H. Singles match. The winner was entered into the World Heavyweight Championship match later that night. Now, if you look at this, Chris, this kind of almost planted the seeds for Batista versus Triple H later down the road. Because,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Triple H is like, oh, I'll enter myself in it. If I can beat you, then I'm going to get the championship. Batista is like, hey, man, I didn't come back from Hollywood after doing a successful blockbuster movie to have you come in and take my championship that I'm going to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so forth. That's basically what it was. But, dude, story to this, god dang, Chris. This right here was a great story. Everything that happened.
Yeah.
With
so much tied into it.
Daniel Bryan, man. Jeez. Damn.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy just because the amount of story and thought that was put in this as part of the Yes movement and everything going around with Daniel Bryan being the B plus player and everything they put into this. This was months and months and months of storyline that was driven all the way back from SummerSlam all the way to WrestleMania. And it was absolutely amazing to see what they did with this. This is honestly probably one of my all-time favorite storylines they have ever done. And honestly, you know how I love to cut together my own promo videos and do all kinds of fun stuff, especially with wrestling. But the promo package they had as the hype video for this match was one of the most amazing ones I had ever witnessed. It was set to the song Monster, but it was absolutely amazing from beginning to end. The match was amazing beginning to end. And this match, as the opener for Mania, was the longest match of the night, coming in at almost 26 minutes long. So absolutely amazing. Hats off to both of Daniel Bryan and Triple H for putting on such a great show and really kicking off WrestleMania the way it needed to be kicked off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely need to be kicked off like that right there. It definitely did. Now, Daniel Bryan defeats Triple H.
Yep.
He goes on and he's in the main event, but Triple H was so furious he hurt Daniel Bryan's arm. He hurt his arm. Oh no! Daniel Bryan, how is he gonna compete later on in the night with the
oh man.
Yeah.
Are you saying there's another wrinkle to the story?
Yeah, there's another wrinkle to the damn story, man. Shit. It sucks. It sucks.
But you know what? Before we even got to all of that though, there was all these other matches, because let's not forget the Shield taking on Kane and the New Age Outlaws right after that match.
Oh, God. You know what's funny about that? Okay. The Shield was used by the New Age Outlaws to do dirty work. When the cat came out of the bag that the Shield was just lackeys.
Oh, they didn't like that.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. This would be the second WrestleMania where the Shield has come in and kicked ass and left.
Literally.
I remember that. I remember the promo. What was it? Kane was out there and he's like, all of a sudden, they came through the crowd there. They whipped their ass and they left. And that was it. The crowd was like, yeah. It's like, follow that up. Well, you did before. But next we had Cesaro winning the 31-man battle Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Mm-hmm. And this was
Wow.
the very, very first one. Just to give you a rundown of everybody that was in this match, you had Yoshitatsu, Brad Maddox, Brodus Clay, the Great Khali, Zack Ryder, Darren Young, Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, Heath Slater, Mark Henry, Titus O'Neil, The Miz, Santino Marella, Xavier Woods, Damian Sandow, Justin Gabriel, David Otunga, Big E, Fandango, R-Truth, Sin Cara, Tyson Kidd, Goldust, Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, and of course, Big Show.
Damn. That is nuts, man.
Yeah. That was the first one they had ever done. This was the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And they've been doing it every year since.
I was happy to see Cesaro win it. Won
I was too.
And then what's funny was, Chris, they're like, whoever wins this trophy, they go on the big things. Okay, I'm still waiting. Cesaro, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting, man.
Well, that and a lot of people thought it was going to be Big Show because given it was Andre the Giant, Big Show was the next big wrestler. You know what I mean? The big size wrestler to take in those shoes. So people thought Big Show was going to win this all day long. So it was really surprising to see Cesaro win it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Big Show got his the next year though, so no worries.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he pretty much got his winnings right there. But damn. The next match, John Cena going up the Eater of Woods. We got Bray Wyatt with the Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Is that not a good impersonation right there for you?
Throwing it back, but I remember all the storyline that went into this match. It was kind of quickly thrown together, I felt like, but not too surprising to see how this one turned out. It ended up being a 22.5-minute match of John Cena doing 5 moves of doom over and over and over. Bray Wyatt doing some interesting things himself, but this was early Bray Wyatt. This isn't like the Fiend that we have now, or even the Bray Wyatt we had before that. So this is early Bray Wyatt. So still, Bray Wyatt was getting his feet wet at this point, especially with his character, but still was a good match.
Mm-hmm. It definitely was still a good match because Bray tried to make how would you say this? He tried to make Cena go into his hate and everything. And that did not happen for the fact that Cena was good and nothing can stop Cena in the Cena Nation. And Cena defeated Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds there. So pretty much Bray Wyatt went down to the river and he was anointed by the fact that John Cena has defeated the Eater of Worlds. But next month, the following month, we're going to get a little kid that was possessed like the Exorcist. And we're going to make sure John Cena didn't defeat me. I am the Eater of Worlds. There you go.
You okay there?
Yeah.
You need a minute?
I love getting into it, man. I love that old Bray Wyatt, man. I love that old Bray Wyatt.
Oh, yeah, it's good stuff. You know what I love, too?
Like John Cena said, he sounded like a ladies' man, but what else do you love there?
Oh, my gosh, you kill me. I love the fact that we were able to see something really historic at this WrestleMania. And that was in our next match with Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in his corner taking on The Undertaker, where we saw the absolute unthinkable happen.
Don't say it.
That's right.
Don't
Brock
say it.
Lesnar broke the streak.
No. But yeah, it happened.
Yeah, it happened.
That's how
it gave way to some of the most iconic memes of the time too.
Oh God, yeah. That one African American guy. Oh yeah, I know. Damn,
I'll tell you what, classic, man.
God dang, yeah, it was. I didn't expect that. All right. Now, this match went on for about, let me look at here, 25 minutes and 12 seconds here. Now, apparently during this match, sometime in this match, Brock Lesnar Undertaker ended up getting a concussion, and he was wrestling, and the lights were on, but no one was home. But I want to ask you, I don't know if I've ever asked this to you. What was your reaction when Lesnar hit that F5? 1, 2, 3.
I think I literally looked at the person next to me and said, "Holy shit! It finally happened."
It finally happened.
I was shocked, honestly, but I wasn't surprised because it's Brock Lesnar. You know, who else are you going to have come back and break the streak than the one guy Taker worked with better than anybody, and that was Brock Lesnar. And that's the crazy thing. Brock Lesnar and Undertaker are actually very close. A lot of people don't realize that. Brock Lesnar severely impressed Undertaker when Lesnar first started out in his first year in the company, to the point where Taker made it known that no one was to mess with Lesnar, which is also why Lesnar, I think, ended up growing the biggest head as he did, but that's a whole nother thing. But at the end of the day, it made sense, but it was just utterly shocking. And it was just one of those moments where you're like, oh man, this is it. Taker's done. How you broke the streak. What is there to do now? So it was very shocking, surprising. People really thought this was the end of Taker, which obviously we knew was not the case, given that he came back not even the very next year and had his match with Bray Wyatt. So it was really crazy to see how it all went down, but not at all, in my opinion, very shocking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to agree with you right there. That it was shocking, but it wasn't. After I did the research of finding out, in 2010, Undertaker did an interview, and he was asked, "Who would you want to break the streak?" He said, "Brock Lesnar." 4 years later, Brock Lesnar breaks the streak, and he's the most hated guy in wrestling.
But you know what? It worked perfectly for Brock Lesnar, just because that's where he ended up with the one who put the 1 and 21 and 1 and all the great shirts and all the great promos and all the work Paul Heyman did after that. It was really good stuff.
Oh yeah, it definitely was great there. But besides that match right there, AJ Lee defeated basically all the women. I'm not going to name off here. All the women
they could find.
Yeah, all the women they can find. I'm surprised they didn't find Santino Marella to come back in. Satina to come back in there, Chris. But she won this match, and that solidified her as being the longest reigning Divas champion at 200 and I think it was 50 or 90 days. I think
something like that. A little April Jeanette, AJ Lee. What was funny about this was the Vicky Guerrero Invitational match for the WWE Divas Championship. Vicky and AJ had their own little storyline going at this time, so this was more about keeping AJ champion, even though she ended up putting her in this Invitational match. So a little bit of comedy wrapped around this was definitely a great way to try and cool off after seeing the historic end of the Undertaker streak and before going into our triple threat main event. So it was a great match to cool off the crowd.
Yeah, it definitely was there. And the hype around this, man, you didn't know what to expect from this match here. You didn't know what kind of match this was going to be, and it was kind of weird because it was like anyone can pin anyone, but AJ ended up winning and going on and retaining that Divas Championship.
Well, that was because of Vicky Guerrero, but
yeah.
It was all just to help keep the angles going at the time, because we all know that fairly shortly after what happened with AJ Lee the next night on Raw.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do, because someone came in and declared it their house. We'll keep it as that there.
Yeah, if you remember what happened, maybe hit us up in the comments, let us know. But our main event, though, absolutely amazing. We saw Daniel Bryan beat Triple H in the opener to qualify for the triple threat match against Royal Rumble winner Batista and our WWE World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton. This match was something. This started out with a lot of quick little spots because, again, you know how I love my triple threat matches.
Yes.
But we started out with Daniel Bryan being able to be eliminated from this match very early on, ended up going backstage, started out being just Batista and Randy Orton. A lot of people were upset about it. Daniel Bryan, though, ends up coming back into this match, playing into that underdog role, showing that he will fight against all odds.
Yes.
And ended up coming back, having a great match with Orton and Batista, and ended up winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah, dang. I loved it. I loved the build up for this. He started the pay-per-view. He ended the pay-per-view, and he walked out as the WWE champion, World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep.
He won it.
Yep.
He won it. He made Batista tap. I was like, bullshit. When they put him on the stretcher, Chris, I was like, bullshit. He's coming off that stretcher. My wife is sitting there watching with me, and he came off the stretcher, and then when he got Batista into the freaking, the yes lock, and Batista went, dude, my wife jumped off the couch. She was like, oh my God, he won it. I was jumped up next to her. I was like, yes, he did. Yes, yes. I loved it. Story.
I ain't gonna lie.
Great.
I ain't gonna lie. I did it too.
Great freaking story, Chris. Start the finish. I loved it. But we're pretty much done with we went through our top 5 there. Let's get a bigger, yep, there you go. One of my favorite modern day WrestleManias right here. Great story, great build up. You can't do it. You're a B+ player. Yes, you can. You believe in yourself and you can do anything. That's what I loved about it. And
yeah, such a great show.
Little side note there, CM Punk put out a while back ago the original match card for WrestleMania 30. Did you see that tweet he put out there? He was cleaning up some stuff. I
actually did not.
You did not? Dude.
No.
Dude, pretty much what you saw on WrestleMania 30 for the match card, believe it or not, happened. But except the main event was Orton versus Batista, but Triple H versus CM Punk. Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt. Yeah, some stuff was switched around there. Yeah, I was like, holy shit! And the date on that was given to him was like back in January of 2014. Right before he quit WWE.
Yeah.
So they already had the matches already booked or set on what they were doing for Mania back in January. But creative, that's a different story and everything. But
it definitely is. All right, but we're at that time though.
Yes.
We've now been through what we consider to be the top 5 Manias of all time. So now that we fully agree on what the top 5 are, what is your top 5 specifically?
Number 5, WrestleMania 30. Number 4, WrestleMania 19. Number 3, WrestleMania 20. Number 2, 17. Number 1. Yeah, my dog agrees. WrestleMania 3. That's my top 5.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, so my official top 5 would be for number 5, WrestleMania 30. Number 4, WrestleMania 20. Number 3, WrestleMania 19. Number 2, WrestleMania 3, which, yes, that means that my number 1 is WrestleMania 17, the most historic for the industry, the most historic for WWE, the most historic for the biggest heel change in history, WrestleMania 17.
Damn. That was a heel swerve right there on me, too.
Got him.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, this was not easy. This was not easy for Chris and myself, because we went back for about 2 or 3 days. Was it about 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, about that. Maybe even longer, honestly.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 days. We went back and forth throwing numbers at each other, and we basically had we came down to about a 33 and a third chance of actually putting a top 5 together that we both agree on. Our top 5 WrestleManias. Yeah. And this was not based off of main events. This was not based off of this match or that match. It was basically based off the card of what we liked about that pay-per-view. Because, dude, there's pay-per-views, there's matches where we wish we had this match.
Sure.
Put it together and then had this match as our main event. But, hey.
Here we are.
It is what it is. It definitely is what it is, though. But, damn, what a hell of a show tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely was, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you got WWE Network. If you're not on lockdown, Saturday night. Woo! Thank you. Saturday night, WrestleMania 36 will be on Saturday night. What time is that?
7 or 8 o'clock. Give me just a quick moment. This is the first time ever that WrestleMania will take place over 2 days. So it's very interesting to see how this one will play out, given the fact that we have never seen a WrestleMania be stretched over 2 days. They will start at 7 o'clock Eastern time, 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. They will be shooting from the Performance Center. A lot of this, though, apparently has been pre-recorded given the pandemic with coronavirus. But some of this, apparently, the rumor is, will be live, and that is to try and keep some type of excitement going to make sure nothing gets leaked early. So definitely some big things, apparently, storyline-wise, that they plan on doing. But we'll definitely see how a lot of it shakes out. If you're going to catch it, though, you can only watch it on the WWE Network or order it on pay-per-view.
Nice. Thank you so much, Chris. And before we do wrap it up here on this podcast here, on the Everett Lee show here on this Thursday night, and I got allergies and they're starting to kick in right now. And
Oh man, that's no good.
Kills me. Yeah, I'm about to go on a sneezing fit. So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, right now. But
well, while you're doing that, just make sure that you can find all things Chris Carnage on Facebook at facebook.com/Chris Carnage Official, on Twitter at Planet Carnage, and of course on Instagram at The Chris Carnage. Definitely go on, give me a like, give me a follow, leave a comment, hit me a message. Doesn't matter, hit me up. We will talk. I love interacting with the fans, so definitely go check me out there, as well as Final Score. You can check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PCN Final Score. And of course, if you heard earlier or saw any of our posts from Final Score, episode 52 will be coming up this Sunday as part of our Great Selection Sunday at 9 p.m. live here on Facebook Live at facebook.com/PCN Final Score, as we'll be bringing on a very special guest from the Couch Dads podcast, as we will be making our selection and holding our selection day for the sports movie madness. So definitely make sure that you come on and check us out 9 p.m. this Sunday night. Final Score Facebook page.
Nice. Thank you so much, Chris Carnage. And let me go ahead and mention this before I start going to another sneezing fit. This time of the year, it's just hell for me right now.
It better not be coronavirus.
No, I wouldn't be here right now. Oh, God. Okay. I don't care. If I had the coronavirus, I'd still do this fucking show.
Of course you would.
Yes, I would. I would die on air just to do this show for you to entertain the masses. And I'd have my wife kick my fucking corpse. But, Podcasting Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Head over to podcasting.net. And for the latest shows such as the Everett Lee Show, Chris Carnage Show, Final Score, Wrestle Popcast, Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast, Super Radio Brothers, Imaginary with Scott and Todd, and ELS Uncut, and Best Friend Podcast Show, and much more over on podcasting.net. Follow them on Twitter at podcasting.net. Follow them on Facebook, Podcasting Network, and subscribe to the video portions of their podcast on YouTube, Podcast City Network, and right here on Twitch at Podcast City Network. And Everett Lee, you follow me on social media right here at the Everett Lee Show on Facebook. Give that thumbs up, and congratulations to myself, I have to say. And I want to thank everyone for 400 likes on the Everett Lee Show Facebook page. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone who loves the content I put out each and every week. And you follow me. And thank you for putting me up with these crazy times. But you can follow me. Give that thumbs up over on Facebook page there, Everett Lee Show. And over on Twitter, follow me on Twitter at the Everett_Lee. Instagram, Everett Lee Show. And audio portions of this podcast, previous release podcast, over on YouTube.com, Everett Lee Show. Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Podbean.com, Everett Lee Show. And I want to mention Chris, not that right there. Whoop. Click the same thing. There we go. Let's talk about supporting your local businesses. City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida.
Yes.
What do you have to say about City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida?
Oh, man. You need to check out City Limits Tap Room. Even though we have this pandemic going on and the state of Florida has been ordered with a stay-at-home order, City Limits Tap Room is still offering delivery and pickup curbside service for all their food, as well as alcohol. You can still buy alcohol as well. I think they've been running some promotions where they're also been giving away free beer. So definitely make sure you check them out. 2620 North Woodland Boulevard in beautiful DeLand, Florida. I don't know how I would ever forget that. I've said it so many times, but definitely check them out. They are still open for business through this, as they are considered essential, given that they are a food service. So definitely make sure you check them out. Help support your local business through these tough times. Even if it's just once a week or every other week, something. Even if it's just once, just try and help your local businesses, including City Limits Tap Room.
And what do you think about? Well, I love 3-count design. How about you, Chris?
Oh, man, I love 3-count design. If you guys didn't know, 3-count design actually designed the Podcast City Network logo. So we definitely have a huge debt of gratitude to 3-count design and everything they've done with Ashley and her crew over there. A lot of great stuff. Definitely make sure you go check them out. With everything going on, she has a lot more time on her hands. So if you wanted to get a new logo made or any kind of branding done, definitely hit up Ashley at 3-count design. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/3count design. Definitely make sure to check them out. Really great work, as you can see from our network logo.
Yeah, definitely right there. Thank you, 3-count design right there for the logo of Podcast City Network. Definitely love it, man. Definitely love it. And next week on the Everett Lee Show, next Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to have none other than Beyond the Ropes radio host Ty Asbury will be on the podcast. So I don't know what to expect out of that, but it's going to be entertaining as always. It always is, ain't it, Chris, here on the Everett Lee Show? It's always entertaining.
It's always entertaining. It's why I keep coming back.
Yeah. I'm the crack that everyone needs right now. I am. Like I said last week with Robin Nelson, Everett Lee is your entertainment. That other guy that Everett Lee looks like, he's pretty ticked off, and he's run and hid from stupid people right now. But apparently I got an update from him. He said that profile of his is on quarantine till 2021, and
oh jeez,
he'll be back in 2021. But right now you're stuck with Everett Lee, so you gotta put up with Everett Lee right now. So
well, as long as Everett Lee's liver can keep up with Chris Carnage, I think it'll be okay.
You know it, buddy. You know it, buddy, because Everett Lee already killed 2 tonight. So yeah, you should see what I bought at the store today. My fridge is stocked, locked, ready to go. My wife said, "Wow, you bought that?" I was like, "Yeah, I got to take care of my priorities and my needs." And she looked at me. She said, "Your needs ain't getting taken care of lately?" And I said, "Yeah, they're not getting taken care of." And she looked at me like, really? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, snap. Like you didn't get stabbed.
And then I don't remember anything after that. I woke up picking myself off the ground, and I had a frying pan stuck in the back of my head. So,
Wonder how that got there.
Yeah. Gotta wonder how that got there, though. But I just want to say to everyone that's out there, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for downloading this audio portion of this podcast.
Absolutely.
And that's it. If I had my soundboard up, I'd hit the outro music, though. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up the logo. Everett Lee signing off. Have a good night and a good weekend. And don't go batshit crazy while you're quarantined.
Try not to, anyways.
Please don't do it, because I want you to live and experience Everett Lee. So have a good night and keep your chin up. Everything is going to get good. And we'll see you again next week for another episode of the Everett Lee Show. Peace.